Guys, it was a close one. I've spilled something on my hoodie. I had to run and grab another hoodie. Sorry I was late. It won't happen again. Okay, it might happen again, but it won't happen again tonight, I don't think. I almost spilled something there trying to get a drink right before we started. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you, your understanding that we were not able to put a show together for Friday. You now may have heard why. I worked out with Julian Dorey to head up there, but like most great podcasts, he does not want to announce ahead of time who's going to be there and when. And I greatly appreciate that. And so that was a double secret in and out type of deal. We filmed on back-to-back days. He was a remarkable host. I mean that in every sense of the word, host. He's a generational talent, I believe, as a podcaster. I've had an opportunity to watch quite a few of his here in the last couple of weeks. And he is remarkable. I mean, truly, truly remarkable. He reminds me of Joe Rogan before Joe Rogan got the big contract. No offense, Joe Rogan. I still want to be on your show. So I'll be happy to do it. But no, I mean, he reminds me of Joe Rogan in his curiosity. His preparation is relentless. Holy mackerel. You show up and he doesn't just wing it. He has questions. But the way he weaves the questions in is the really really amazing part. So that podcast with Julian Dorey will be coming out, I believe, in the next day or two. It's on his Patreon account now, so some people have already texted me about it. They've watched it. They've given me their feedback. All good, I hope. So I've gotten some feedback from people who've already watched it. I think it'll go out to the general masses. It'd really be nice if it went out Tuesday, because I'm planning to take Tuesday completely off this week. And it would give everybody something to watch. You know, it's long. It was 3.5 hours of recording. We covered the case pretty much in depth. And we talked about a lot of other stuff. It wasn't just Charlie Kirk. We talked about a lot of other things as well. And it was refreshing. It was refreshing because we get so bogged down on this. It was like when I did the Clint Russell Liberty Lockdown podcast, and I did it with Buckley Carlson, and we talked about political philosophy and everything else. I'm going to hint a little bit about that today because, there was a meeting over the, weekend last week sometime where a bunch of political people got together and met with Tucker Carlson, and the pictures leaked out and everybody freaked out because I think they understand what it means is there's some things that are being taken very seriously and might change here in the near future. So I do want to hit that for just at some point tonight. But I want to spend a few minutes talking about the Julian Dorey podcast because it was really 2 parts. Only part 1 has been released. We filmed on successive days. So we did 3.5 hours on Friday, and we did Friday. We did 3.5 hours on Friday and 4.5 hours on Saturday. That's going to be a long show. You know, by the time you put ad breaks in there, it could end up being 5 hours or more. They're 2 very different shows. The first show was just Julian and me, and really covering sort of how I got into podcasting, what I've done in my life, and then how it applies to the Charlie Kirk investigation and the 150 plus shows we've done on that investigation now. And it was good. It was, like I said, he's very thorough, very prepared. The second show was fundamentally different. We had another guest in the studio. I don't know if he's announced that other guest, and I don't want to blow the whistle on that. I've heard a lot of people guess Candace. It's not Candace. But there was another guest in there, and it was a remarkable conversation. And here's what I want to tell you the lesson is, because there are a lot of people that are taking the wrong approach in this, including Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, Erica Kirk, Tyler Boyer, basically everyone affiliated with TPUSA, all their hangers-on, Graham Allen, Officer Tater Tot, Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec. They're taking the wrong approach. I would not have agreed to go on with them. But when Julian asked me if I would go on with this particular guest, I said, yes, I would. Absolutely. Because I'd watched a couple of shows he had done on the Charlie Kirk investigation. And while we reached wildly different conclusions about the investigation and everything else, I felt like he was coming in good faith. I felt like he was a smart guy who understood the case, who wanted to get the right answer. And it would help me to be able to ask him my questions. It would help sharpen my thoughts to have him ask me his questions, and have Julian fire questions at both of us and see where we contrasted and see where we agreed. Because ultimately, what I want to do is be right. And by that, I mean, I want to cover the case in a way that allows the truth to come out. And I'm not sure everybody does. I'm not sure everybody's in that place. I listened to a couple of X Spaces today. What a disaster. I got to stop doing that to myself. Whoever's running these X Spaces, you're doing it all wrong. You're doing it all wrong. When you give 8 people, 10 people a microphone, and then you're like, hey, everybody be quiet. They're not going to be quiet. They have a microphone. This is their moment to shine, right? These are the people who used to raise their hand in class all the time. Sit down, Timmy. We're going to hear from somebody else. Stop raising your hand. And then they talk over each other, and then they call names, and then they get ugly with each other. That is no way to come to an agreement on what happened. That's no way to try to figure out how to advance the case. That's no way to me sharpen my mind, you sharpen your mind. You can't get there that way. It's an absolute disaster, and it's spilling over into social media. It's spilling over into everything else. I like to lay blame. I lay blame with the Tyler Robinson Fed Slop side. They're the ones that can't handle the fact that an investigation is taking place, and the investigation is uncovering facts that are very uncomfortable for them. The investigation's uncovering things like higher quality video footage than we've been offered by the state or the defense. That's a real problem for them because the higher quality footage shows no 30-06. It doesn't show anything that they said. If any more high quality footage drops, they could be done. Like, they could be done. I have no idea what all Candace has up her sleeve. I have no idea if the sources that sourced video to Candace have sourced it to other people. I have no idea if other people have seen video footage. I don't know. I assumed we wouldn't see any better footage until the trial. But the reality is, last week, we got a really high quality, I think, pretty high quality compared to what we've had so far. At least you could tell it wasn't Bigfoot. You could tell it was an actual human being up there. That's the first we've seen of that. You could start to see things like, was he wearing a jacket? Did he have something in his hand? Was he carrying a bag? How did he position himself? Did he unfold something or did he roll something out in front of him? Like, all of these things were unavailable in the video footage we've been offered to date. And so I think it's a very uncomfortable position for people pushing the Tyler Robinson or bust narrative, because they have to prove that's Tyler Robinson on that roof. And when you come at it in an honest, engaging way, even if you believe Tyler Robinson did it, and you come at it, you come to the investigation or you come to the conversation, and you say, hey, no, what are you saying again? Talk me through this exploding microphone. Talk me through this electrocution. Talk me through this bullet from another location. Talk me through this high technology thing. You know, what is it exactly that you're trying to say? What now is that supportable by the medical records? Let's look at what we know so far of what's come out about Charlie Kirk's injuries. When you approach it that way, you get engagement. You get a little back and forth, and you start to come to a better understanding of what the other person says and what they believe and what we believe. They have a better understanding of. Now, they still may walk away at the end of it and not believe it. But if your goal is just to get to the truth, why do you care what I believe? Why do you care if I say that I don't think Tyler Robinson did it? Why does that offend you? Why do you have to call names about that? The person that I sat down with yesterday, man, it seems like a month ago. That was just yesterday. The person I sat down with yesterday and talked for 4.5 hours with Julian Dorey approaches it exactly that way. He approaches it in a very curious way. Tell me again what you believe. Tell me again why you think that. And it fostered a discussion that I think will go down after it comes out. And I think it'll probably come out Thursday or Friday of this week. The podcast with just Julian and me, I think, will be out tomorrow or Tuesday for the general public. It's out now for his Patreon members. If you want to see it early, go join his Patreon. I highly recommend it. It's great. His Patreon's great. Not Your Humble Host is great. I would never say something like that. But it's he does a great job. He really does a great job, and you get early access and some behind the scenes stuff. But when you, I think the podcast I did yesterday, not because I was on it, but because of the material that was covered and the tremendous insight into the case from me and from this person, a true expert in his field, a frankly globally recognized expert in his field, allowed a level of discussion that has not happened in this case, in my opinion. It hasn't happened in an X space. It hasn't happened on YouTube. It hasn't happened on anybody's private, members channel. It just hasn't happened. That's not credit to me. It's not necessarily credit to him. I think it's credit to Julian Dorey, whose mind envisioned that such a conversation could even take place. And again, my initial instinct was, I don't know that I want to do this. So I went and watched a bunch of the videos that guy had put together, and I was like, yeah, I absolutely want to do this. And then we actually talked for a little while before. We talked for an hour or so before agreeing to sit down and do a podcast together. I just want to make sure there was enough discussion to be had. And there was. I think that conversation, when it comes out towards the end of the week, I think that conversation will go down as the most informative 4.5 hours of the Charlie Kirk investigation. That's not to say that the hours that Candace puts in releasing video is not informative. I think that in and of itself on the issue of video is more informative because we didn't talk much about video that's been put out. We talked a little bit about it, but not 4.5 hours worth. But the conversation we had was what probably happened from the moment Charlie Kirk arrived until the moment he was put in the ground. What probably happened? And what should have happened? And I'm going to cover a little of that tonight. What should have happened in those immediate moments afterwards? We're going to go back to the scene tonight. We're going to take a little look at it. Because with the information I've gleaned from yesterday, I kind of want to prime the pump when that conversation comes out towards the end of the week. What should have happened in those immediate seconds, minutes, hours after Charlie Kirk went down? So we'll get to that. But I do want to give a tremendous shout out to Julian Dorey. I can't thank him enough for the opportunity. I can't thank him enough for just being a guy of tremendous integrity. You got to travel to the New York metropolitan area. I don't like it up there typically. No offense to our New York friends. You probably don't like it in some of the places I've lived. I don't like it. It's just loud and it's just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. But he made it so easy. He made it so easy and so welcoming and kind. So all the praise to him, all the praise to the fellow host or the fellow guest that I did it with. And again, I don't know if that's public or not, so I don't want to say his name. But when it comes out, I think it's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be an absolute banger. 4.5 hours of bang. I mean, it really never slowed down. Some of the lessons I learned from it, though, the primary one being we have got to elevate this discussion. This discussion can be had at a higher level than it's currently being had in a lot of venues. We on our side need to stop descending into the bowels. We need to stop lowering ourselves to respond to these people. We need to stop engaging with them altogether if they can't behave like adults. There's no reason we're jumping on X spaces and calling each other names. There's no reason we're jumping on X spaces and fighting over this nonsense. It's not worth fighting over. You don't agree with me? Fine. Give me a reason. If you don't have a reason why, then let's just not talk. But you're an idiot boogerhead eater. That's not going to cut it. That's not from this point forward. That doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it. We handle this like professionals. We handle this like adults, or we don't handle it. We don't handle it. Stop tuning into these spaces. Stop giving in to this childish discussion. It's not advancing the ball, and your attendance in these spaces, even though I've listened today for an hour while somebody melted down. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. This person claims to be somebody. Claims to be a producer for somebody. But it was just embarrassing watching the meltdown, watching the name calling and the infantile responses. And I thought, why am I here? Why am I here? Because that's just one more view that this space is getting. And that's one more piece of encouragement for people to engage in this kind of content. Let's raise our approach. Let's raise our standards. Let's be better. Let's be better. If someone's not engaging in good faith, don't engage them. Somebody's name calling and, oh, he's a fraud, he's a huckster, he's a comment. Okay, then just ignore, block. So it doesn't even show up in your feed. It's just a lot easier that way. A lot easier. So that's kind of lesson number one. We are capable of carrying out this investigation, carrying out these conversations at a level far higher than these people are capable of handling it. So let's just have the conversations ourselves. Lesson number two, there are good faith people on the other side. We like to believe that everyone who believes Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk is some sort of Fed slop loser. A lot of them are. but not all of them. There are people on the other side who are operating in good faith, who have just come to that conclusion. I don't necessarily believe those people work for TPUSA. I don't believe they are contracted to TPUSA. I don't believe they're operational necessarily on Twitter. They're not these hangers on that me. It's not those people. It's not the people out there slinging mud and calling names. But there are people who have looked at this who believe that Tyler Robinson's guilty. I'm more than willing to engage those people. I'm more than willing to have a conversation with those people. And if we can keep it at a high level and keep it above, an IQ of like 110, we can get there. We can have that conversation, and everybody will benefit from a conversation like that. But if it devolves into name calling and cheap shots and verbal tricks and trying to drag somebody down in the mud and muddy the issue and confuse the issue, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. And not worthy of engagement. But that's lesson 2, I think, from the podcast I did. I sat down with somebody who I never really asked him what he thinks happened. I think he believes Tyler Robinson did it. I think he does. I know he did probably at one time, or at least thinks he was shot by a 30-06, or at least was open to that idea at one time, or very open, like mostly convinced. And so that's kind of lesson 2, that there are good faith actors on the other side. That's lesson 2. Lesson 3. When you go into someone else's podcast live, you have no control over the environment. That was lesson 3, believe it or not. There's no cough button. There's no mute button. So you're going to just hack all over the place if you're a habitual cougher like I am. There's no headphones. See these? I don't know how people broadcast without these. I have to have the feedback as I work around the mic. That way, no one's off screen telling me move back to the mic, because I'm getting constant feedback and know to stay on the mic. I was shocked when he released his promotional image of the show, and it's like this. I mean, it was like right in my face. It was a little much, if we're being honest. See if I can find it. It was a little much. I thought, what is he trying to accomplish here? What does he think he's doing? You have no control over the environment when it's on someone else's podcast. They're going to do their camera angles. If they want to pull tight on the camera, they're going to check this out. Look how close this is. This is unacceptably close. Who needs that close a Baron in their life? That's the bottom of the frame. That's the top. No. Back up. Dial it back a little bit. Let's not get so carried away. So that's lesson 3. You have no control over the environment. You don't have control over the temperature. You don't have control over the mute button. You don't have control over the ears. You don't have control over how tight the camera angle is. And lesson 4, my final lesson. When you go to somebody else's studio, you have no idea when the cameras are rolling. Because after the show, we sat around and talked for a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen,
you just take a chance every few years.
I had no idea this was playing.
Yeah, I just love going. My kids go to the C-Lab. Yeah. Just from all over.
I had no idea that was taking place. Now, still don't know who was filming that, because everyone, well, I guess Julian wasn't in there. Maybe he was the one filming it. But I saw that come out on X today. He put that up, and I was like, what? What else did I say in that, what I thought was an off-the-record conversation? Oh, I guess there's the answer. That's who I sat down with. It was Joseph Scott Morgan. He was great. He was phenomenal. I should have known. Yeah, that's who I sat down with. It was Joseph Scott Morgan. And I guess that's the giveaway. I guess it was public. And then Deef comes walking through with his male poetry hat. I don't even know what that means. But so now that I know that Joseph Scott Morgan, I should have even thought about it. They've already basically announced who it was. One of the things that people noticed was I have body from here down. I'm not sitting on a stump. I'm not one of those people that have no legs. I was there. I have jeans. I was wearing my dress Vans, only the best for Julian Dorey, ladies and gentlemen, only the best. I had my dress Vans on. It was a great experience. But yeah, so now that you guys know, I will say this about Joseph Scott Morgan. I watched his original interview he did with Julian Dorey a couple of weeks ago. And a lot of people tagged me in things and sent things to me and were like, look, you right now have got to get in touch with this professor because he's out to lunch. He's crazy. He's in there and he doesn't know the case. And I was like, look, so I'll watch it. And I did. It took me 2 or 3 sessions of watching because I don't often have 3 hours to just sit and watch something uninterrupted. But it took me a couple of 3 sessions to get through it, 2 or 3 days of watching it. But I finally watched the whole thing. And so then Julian called. He's like, "Hey, do you want to sit down and talk to this guy?" If you read the comments under his episode, every comment's like, "Get Baron, get Baron, get Baron. Baron needs to talk to this guy." So I finally did. And Julian said, "Do you want to come on a podcast with him? I'd like to do a podcast with you. Let's just do it. If you say no to Joseph Scott Morgan, then just you and I'll talk. We won't do that one. But if you want to do it, stay 2 days and we'll record the second day with him." And I said, "Well, let me talk to him. Like, set up a call. Let's just talk for an hour. See how it goes." What I found in that hour was this was a man who's very, very brilliant, very smart, very experienced in his job, very, very experienced in his job. He's got the credentials to back up what he says. He knows more about forensic investigation. He's trained police officers on how to investigate crime scenes, how to preserve evidence. He's trained the people who cut up the bodies and all that. He's done that. Autopsy. He's done all that. So he's got decades of experience in this. It would be foolish of me to assume that he's drawing some random conclusion based on, the Twitter whims. And after talking to him for an hour, I realized, no, that's not at all what's happening. We do disagree on whether it was a 30-06. We do disagree on maybe the nature of the injuries, what's possible and not possible. But there's a lot we also disagree on. Do agree on. We agree on a lot about what took place around the scene immediately afterwards. We agree a lot on what took place in the environment and whether or not things, timelines and things. And so we'll get to that. I'm going to let that come out. I'm not going to do the whole show before you hear it from him. I want you to watch that show. It's really, really good. He's the perfect person to have done it. The perfect person. He's not a name caller. He's not a bomb thrower. He's not an agitator. He's a serious man who just happens to have reached a different conclusion than I have on a lot of things. But he's also someone that is capable of adjusting to new information. So if he sees information he didn't previously know or wasn't aware of, he's capable of digesting it in real time. And if it changes his conclusion a little bit or causes him to rethink something, he'll be honest about it. And it was a really great conversation. So I look forward to that coming out as well. And I'll kind of leave the Julian Dorey adoration there. Great guy, superb host. And I mean host like bringing you into town, taking care of you, and host also like sitting behind a microphone, being prepared when you show up, knowing what he wants to ask, knowing how he wants the interview to go, and making sure it gets that way. I probably wouldn't put my cameras that tightly on a guest. But that's just because I'm old and it exposes every flaw on this body. But he can do whatever he wants. One more quick thing before we get into tonight's content. This is an image that was released by Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's got Marjorie Taylor Greene and her husband. It's got Tucker Carlson. It's got Joe Kent and his wife, Thomas Massie and his wife. And they're all sitting around the table just enjoying, I don't know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever this is. But it got a lot of people's wheels going on a couple of different ways. Number one, the people who like this group of people, your humble host included, got very excited when he saw this. I think any of those 4 people, and frankly, probably their spouses, could run circles in terms of governance around what we've elected over the last, 50 years or so, 60 years in this country. Any of the 4 of those acting as president, making executive decisions, any of the 4 of those acting as cabinet secretaries, making executive decisions, would be so much better than anything we've had in the last 60 years. Almost I can't name a single person sitting there where I'd look at somebody that's been in an executive level position, a cabinet level position, a president or vice president that I would prefer over those four people. These four people love the United States of America. They want to see it at its best. They want to see the United States of America at its best. Now, it obviously prompted a lot of questions. Is this the beginning of a third party? And I have a lot of concerns about that. We traditionally have been a two-party country. Since 1860, we've been essentially a two-party country. We've had the Republicans and the Democrats, and we've had every now and then we'll have some third party, and I did an opening on this. I'm not going to redo the whole opening. But every now and then we'll have some third party pop up and grab a few states here and there. I know Governor Wallace from the state of Alabama, I think he won 5 or 6 states. Ross Perot ran. He'd never won any states, but he won, I think, 15 or 18% of the vote one year. You've had other people pop up. The senator from South Carolina, his name's escaping me right now. He ran under the Dixiecrats in, I think, the 40s or 50s, and he won 5 or 6 states maybe. So it happens from time to time that a third party will pop up and it'll run and it'll win some states. But typically all a third party does is play spoiler to the big two parties. So if you run from the right and you don't win, then you basically have handed the election to the left. There's a lot of concerns about that. Republicans have been pretty naughty over the last several election cycles, particularly this one. We were sold a bill of goods and we didn't get it. We were told that a second Trump presidency would go a certain way, and we basically have gotten the opposite of it on most issues, certainly foreign policy issues. So I have concerns that could happen. But those concerns are largely assuaged by the fact that we have not gotten what we voted for recently. Even in Trump 1, even the first Trump administration, we didn't get what we voted for. We voted for closed borders, mass deportations, America first. We got almost none of that. Trump 2, we voted for no more foreign wars. We have not gotten any part of that either. And so if we're going to continue just getting hoodwinked, if we're going to continue getting rug pulled by Republicans when we elect them, what's the difference? You know, are we really reduced to voting for the lesser of two evils? Is that where we're going to be from the rest of our lives? Because the lesser of two evils is just how fast you want to drive the car off the cliff. Do you want to go at light speed? Do you want to do you want to do 140 in the BMW and go off the cliff, or would you rather go like 25 miles an hour off the cliff? You know, that's the lesser of two evils approach. Which way do you want to go off the cliff? And if that's what you're comfortable with, then you're probably going to be comfortable with continuing to vote the way we voted since the 1960s, since we rejected Goldwater. Republicans have largely doo-dooed the bed when it comes to finally getting a hold of power. Right now, we have both houses of Congress, the presidency, and 6 of the 9 Supreme Court seats, and everything keeps getting worse. Everything keeps getting worse. Inflation's at an all-time high, not an all-time high, but a multi-decade high. We've printed money the last few years like you can't possibly imagine. We're now engaged in a pretty large-scale war with not a superpower, but a power of a country of 90 million people with allies. That's not ideal. Not ideal. You know, we got our butts kicked in a few wars leading up to this war by lesser powers than that. How did Afghanistan work out? We went into Afghanistan and we spent 20 years, 8,000 lives or 6,000 lives or something, basically trillions of dollars. You know, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of service members, warfighters come back. And they are on now disability because they're so impacted mentally, or their bodies are damaged in some way. They're missing a leg or missing an arm. Like that's not an ideal scenario. And that's Afghanistan, man. That's like a Stone Age economy. We joked when we started the war, they were living in caves. Guys, we lost to cavemen. We lost to cavemen. We left and we handed the country right back over to the people who were in charge when we got there. That's not winning. That's not winning. And so there's an element of are we capable of taking on a country of 90 million people? Are we capable of taking on a country that has an actual military? I would say we didn't get the best outcome all the way going back to Vietnam. Iraq was kind of a disaster. It took us, 15 years to kind of oust the guy in Syria. I mean, why were we even there? I don't know. But if you're going to be there, you might as well win. And we didn't. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And so the track record isn't great. The track record isn't great. And that's what we voted for. Let's stop this nonsense. It's not working out in our favor. It's causing us a lot of heartache. It's chewing through good American men and women as they go over there and then die or come back injured. And then when we finally leave, we're either leaving a wreck, leaving a disaster, or we've actually flat out lost. And so when I saw that picture, I kind of got a little hope up. But I want to temper the hope just carefully, because if they're going to do something like that, I want to know that they're serious. And serious is going to take hundreds of thousands of volunteers all across the country. Because if you're going to win in a third-party contest, you have to have volunteers all the way down to the county or precinct level. Some counties have dozens or hundreds of precincts. You need somebody in there watching the ballots to make sure the ballots aren't being screwed around with. You need somebody out there turning out votes. You need people knocking on doors. This takes hundreds of thousands of people. The two parties right now have an infrastructure in place to carry that out. Whether we like the candidates or not, the Republicans have an infrastructure. Whether we like the candidates or not, the Democrats have an infrastructure. It goes all the way down to the county and precinct level. Often multiple people in each precinct that they've identified who have agreed to take the responsibility to deliver that precinct for their party. And they do a pretty good job of it. Could 4 people sitting in Tucker's cabin do the same thing? I don't know. Maybe, but it would require a lot of help. It would require a lot of money and a lot of help. And guess what? The money's not coming from big pharma. The money's not coming from big Defense Department contractors. The money's not coming from big medicine. And the money's not coming from big banks, because these people are populist. They're not in it for those people. And so the money will come in against them. So the money's going to have to come from people like you and me as well. $5 and $10 at a time, put them on a monthly stroke. Here's a, and if you can't get the commitment from hundreds of thousands of people, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. And you're just going to have to admit that you're handing the election over to someone else. And so I'm not here to encourage anybody or discourage anybody. I would love to support an effort from those 4 people and others. It would take a lot of people to help. But if they're not serious about it, it could actually do a lot of harm. And so I am going to sit back and be patient and hear from them, hear what they're working on up there in Tucker's living room, and see how it goes. And if it seems to be going well, you'll have no bigger supporter than your humble host. If it seems like they're not serious, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. So, the people, the landscape has changed. Final thing I'll say about this, then we'll go into tonight's content. The landscape has changed quite a bit. 20 years ago, the idea of a third party coming along was nonsense. But in the age of YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Twitch and Kick and everything else, hey, the landscape has changed. The ability to mobilize and activate people has never been higher than it is right now. The ability to bypass the traditional media structure that provides cover for the two major parties and go right to the people, to go right into the living rooms or bedrooms or cars or phones, bathrooms of the average person has never, ever, ever been as accessible as it is right now. And that may be enough. That may be enough, believe it or not. But we'll have to sit back and watch. Let's just give them some breathing space. Let's allow this tease that we got of the 4 of them sitting around the living room table with their spouses. Let's allow them the space to accommodate this without casting judgment or decrying it or jumping in with both feet too early. Let's just see what happens. Let's see the plan they roll out. I think if I know the 4 of them, if they come up with a plan, if they decide to go this route, it will be a good plan. It'll be a good plan. If it's a good plan, I will be on board. I 100% will be on board. All right, let me get into some of the content because I want to go back to the scene of the crime. I want to go back to what happened in the immediate minutes after Charlie Kirk was taken down. The immediate minutes before Charlie Kirk had even been pronounced dead. Before we first heard the name Tyler James Robinson, before we knew there was a 30-06 allegedly seen on the Losi Center roof, we first heard from Kash Patel. This is Kash Patel at 1:53 my time. This would be 12:53 their time. This is precisely 30 minutes after everything happened. We get a tweet from Kash Patel. We are closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Our thoughts are with Charlie his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support of the ongoing response and investigation. Agents will be on the scene shortly. Well, that's prospective. That means he believes FBI agents are on the way. And that made sense to me because the Salt Lake City field office is like 45 minutes away. If they're speeding, let's call it 35 or 40. It makes sense to me that they wouldn't be there yet. But then we get a press release from the FBI. This press release came out 2 days later. And in the press release, we get a different story. And so we already see the story sort of changing in real time. This is something that happens in this case quite a bit. The story seems to change. So here's the press release we got 2 days later on September 12th. A little bit of the timeline. I'm reading right here where this purple line is. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on the scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. Those are airplanes. Airplanes, or maybe drones, I guess. But now we've sped that timeline up because the first tweet was 30 minutes afterwards, and he says, help is on the way. FBI agents are en route. 2 days later, they say, no, they weren't en route at all. They were already there. In fact, they arrived with the chiefs of police. Were they just hanging out at the police station? Where were they? How did they know to get there? Were they already in Orem? Why were FBI agents in Orem? Because if you arrive in 16 minutes, you were close. You were very close. And why are you arriving with the chiefs of police? Is that who you're hanging out with? That's an interesting question. And I think it's a question that demands an answer. You know, we ask a lot of questions in this. We've asked a lot of questions of Erica Kirk. She's ignored most of them. Occasionally, she'll answer one. And I say we. I don't mean your humble host only. I mean we as a community. We as an investigative body. A lot of people have asked Erica Kirk a lot of questions, and every now and then she'll respond to one, usually with snark and an ill will, but she at least responds. I think this is a question that needs a response. Cash, baby, buddy, pal. How the hell did FBI agents get there in 16 minutes? Where were they? Now, it's possible FBI agents were investigating something in Provo or Orem. It's possible they were in the area and they get a call that, oh my goodness, Charlie Kirk's been shot. Everybody to UVU promptly. And so they look up and I'm 16 minutes away, Sarge. I guess they don't have sergeants in the FBI, but I'm 16 minutes away, boss. I'll be there in just a few minutes. And they roll up, and they just happen to roll up at the same time as the chief of police. But in the event that's not what happened, where were they? Why were they in the area at all? And what were they doing? And did they actually arrive with the chiefs of police, like in the same car or trailing each other? Was it a coordinated arrival? I think the answer to this question could begin to unravel whether or not the FBI had some sort of knowledge something was going to happen. Because I hate to go there. I hate to even think that. But it's kind of how I think these days. I was going to play a clip of him, but he basically just says the same thing. He was on Fox News, and he's like, hey, as soon as we learned about it, our FBI agents were there, and they were securing the scene by 12:39 p.m. Well, that's 16 minutes later. He said that on September 15th. So September 12th and September 15th, same story. September 10th, slightly different story. Slightly different story. So let's go back to the scene. We actually have really good evidence of what the scene looked like in the immediate aftermath. A guy named Adam Bartholomew. He has a YouTube channel called Life is Driving. I've actually interviewed him on this program back in October. It was a disaster. But props to Adam Bartholomew for leaving us this video footage. He left it up on YouTube. He has it on X. I have downloaded a copy in case he ever gets rid of it. But it's really good footage, and it's been used very, very widely as part of this investigation, helping to identify certain people, knowing where people were at a given period of time, who was at this location. He's the reason we know Terryl Farnsworth, for example, took down the camera, moved the chair. So let's roll through this for just a second because we get an idea in the very immediate aftermath what's happening on the scene. This is almost precisely 3 minutes after it happened. like 3 minutes and 2 seconds after it happened. And this is Adam Bartholomew rolling through. I'll kill the sound and we'll just watch him roll through. But this is him rolling through the scene. Now, it's been 3 minutes. As you look at this scene, what do you notice? Now, we believe at this point in time, we're 3 minutes after this, we know there were at least 6 UVU police officers there. That's been the statements that the UVU has given so far. We know now, looking back and having identified people, there were at least 2 more ununiformed officers there from other jurisdictions. I see one of them in the screen right now, but we'll point him out in just a minute. We know that there are police in the immediate vicinity. What we don't know at this time is, where did the harm come from? Did the harm come from underneath the tent? Did it come from the Losi Center? Did it come from one of the crowd members? In other words, this entire vicinity is a potential crime scene. We don't know where the crime scene is. And so the question is, if you're one of these cops, how do you begin to establish a perimeter? Should you establish a perimeter? And where should that perimeter be? Because right now, let's just assume a gunshot came from right in front of the tent. Right in front of the tent. Well, you got a cameraman here picking stuff off the ground in front of the tent, right next to this railing in front of the tent. You got a guy picking stuff off the ground. What if he's picking up gun shell casings? What if he's picking up evidence? What if he's picking up a firearm that was used? What if he's picking up a cell phone that the shooter dropped and he's putting in his pocket? What if the shooting, it hit his left neck? What if it came from where all these people, these 2 guys in red shirts right here, from all these people are standing? What if it came from right there? And you got people just milling about. So we'll let it roll for another second. Again, this is just 3 minutes afterwards. And Adam does a really, really good job here as a journalist of documenting the scene in the immediate aftermath. Look at all those people standing right there. And this is a cop right here. This guy in the foreground's a cop. What scene is he securing? Who is he talking to? How is he making sure evidence maintains its integrity? All he's doing is walking around with a guy with a paramedic bag. And there's this lady walking up here and distracting him, talking to him. How do we know she's not in on it? How do we know she's not getting his attention to let somebody run off with evidence? Look under the tent. Look inside the perimeter of the tent. There are multiple people milling about under this tent. There are people grabbing stuff off the ground right next to where a crime happened, where a guy died. So as we're watching this, and this is going to become an issue here soon. I guarantee you it's going to become an issue. As we're watching this, we have now this is Officer Bagley. He's the guy who testified. I believe this is Officer Bagley here. This felt figure on the level here right in the middle. He's wearing a uniform and a hat. He appears to be the only guy trying to secure a crime scene. I've given Bagley a lot of hell, but he appears to be the only guy trying to secure a crime scene. Now, go under the tent. We have a Charlie Kirk security guy in a maroon shirt under this speaker to the right. We have unknown man in red hat. Turns out he's a undercover cop from another jurisdiction. We have Chief Long just hanging out talking to people. We have another security guy standing under the tent. We have a guy in a suit standing under the tent. We've got a guy or a gal in hiked up sleeves just wandering around a crime scene in the very immediate aftermath of the crime scene. Obviously, this is before they paved over the crime scene. But if you have to come back and investigate this crime scene an hour later, 3 hours later, 2 days later, if you have to come back and try to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why, is this helping or hurting your case? If you're charged with prosecuting this case, is this helping or hurting your case that Charlie Kirk security guys are milling around in the exact area where he died? If you're the defendant, is this helping your ability to prove your innocence? How do you know people aren't dropping off evidence right there? How do you know people aren't picking up evidence? You got another guy in a short sleeve shirt, bottom right here, right behind the word Adam. Just another rando comes walking in the scene. He just comes walking under the tent, going behind the table, exactly where Charlie Kirk fell. He's walking through the blood. And I'm not making too big of a deal about this. This is a big deal. Look at all those people. Who's this guy in the pink hat? What's he doing? Why is he standing there? Who's this guy on the lower left in the bucket hat? Just hanging out. And frankly, why is Adam Bartholomew, who's doing a good job documenting this, by the way? I'm not knocking his efforts here, but he's doing a good job documenting this. So what we've learned in the since then is this guy in the red hat standing right in front of the tent, right in the evidence scene, is a undercover police officer, as is, I believe, this guy in the blue shirt right here behind the like buttons, the like and dislike buttons. It's right here. I think this guy's an undercover officer as well. Then we have Chief Long, who's here in the middle. And then we have a bunch of Charlie Kirk security guys just hanging out in the middle of a crime scene. These guys are not uniformed police officers. They have no business being there. The camera comes even closer. Again, guys, this is an active crime scene. We have the chief of police picking up evidence, blowing in it, and then you'll see him banging on the table. Look at that. What are you doing? Has this been documented? Has anybody taken a picture of the crime scene yet? Has anybody attempted to establish where the evidence was at any given time? They're just wandering around a crime scene. It's going to be a murder investigation. I think everyone agrees it's a homicide. Everyone agrees it's a homicide. No matter what you think happened to Charlie Kirk, no matter who you think killed him, how they killed him, or why they killed him, everyone on earth would agree everything you see here is a crime scene and has no business having a random guy with white hat back here. There's 2 or 3 of them just hanging out. A girl with long bleach blonde hair back here. Security guys milling about. Even the chief of police picking up evidence, banging it on the table. How do you know that microphone's not going to become the piece of evidence we need to figure out what happened? At least nobody's under the tent for right now. That's going to change here in just a minute. Oh, now we got another guy wandering through. Terryl Farnsworth comes into the crime scene. There's no attempt to establish any kind of perimeter. You know, they'll put the caution tape up around a crime scene almost immediately upon arrival. We've got an undercover officer and a cameraman now making their way into the crime scene. Now look where cameraman goes. Walking through the crime scene. Walking where, I mean, how do we know there's not something right there he's stepping all over that's going to become important? How do we know he's not moving the blood splatter around so that they can't tell about trajectory and force and everything like that? We don't. All of that has to be investigated at some point. And of course, one of the most egregious examples of anything that possible. Now we got another cameraman under the tent. So we have 2 cameramen now standing in the exact spot where the murder victim went down. We got 2 cameramen standing in the exact spot. There's no police officer observing them. There's nobody watching them. There's nobody telling them to move. We had at least 6 UVU police officers and 2 uniformed officers from other jurisdictions there, and not one of them sought to establish a perimeter around the crime scene. And you're going to take this to trial, and you're going to try to convict a man when the crime scene was absolutely destroyed from the moment it happened. And it's not like it was destroyed because there were no cops around to establish a perimeter. It was destroyed in the negligence of the cops. So they're there chatting. Here comes the chief. That's the deputy chief just walked by in the foreground. He's not telling anyone to get out of the way. He's not worried about them sloshing around in Charlie's blood back there. You got another cop now walking through. There goes the chief again. This guy in the red shirt, red hat down here at the bottom, an undercover police officer from another agency. Again, you still have a journalist basically in the perimeter just watching. Here goes the cop just wandering around, not telling anyone to get back. He's got his back to Terryl Farnsworth. Terryl Farnsworth could be doing anything under there. We have no idea what he's doing. We were told all he wanted to do was save the footage. Well, he didn't save the footage from the other cameras. He didn't go get the SD cards from the other cameras. This guy doesn't seem particularly concerned at all that anyone's standing in the exact spot where the gunshot took, or the alleged gunshot took place. There's another a non-uniformed police officer walking through the scene with his back to Terryl Farnsworth. No idea what's going on right there. Terryl could be planting a gun. Terryl could be planting a bomb. Terryl could be planting anything. He could be picking up evidence. He could be walking away. No one cares. No one cares. He's looking around. He's looking around. He made eye contact with this guy in the blue. Go back and look at that again. He made eye contact with this guy in the blue. Watch this. And the guy in the blue looks right at him here. There's the guy in the blue comes in. He turns around. He whispers something. Watch this. He walks. He and Terryl basically look at each other. Look at that. Yeah, you're good back there, baller. Go ahead. Have fun. Yeah, pick up the chair he was killed in. Stand on it. Stand on all the blood. Get it all smushed around. Make sure you change the dynamics of everything about that chair. Make sure you change everything about it, the blood splatter, the everything. Make sure you just get rid of it all. Make sure you stand in it and get it all over your shoes so you could track it around everywhere so we have no idea what happened. And make sure you take down the camera so that whatever's on or in or near that. Look at this guy's just picking stuff up back here. How do you know he's not picking up the weapon? You got a guy just picking stuff up back here on the right. He's just grabbing stuff, walking off. One of the themes that's going to come out of this is that nothing was done right. Everything fell below the standard of what should have been done. The camera has now been taken down. Terryl has taken down the camera and is walking off with it and putting it on the table, again, changing the crime scene, pulling stuff out of it, moving stuff around. We're told he just took an SD card out, but we have no idea actually what he's doing back there. We have no idea what he's doing. He's looking around very suspiciously, I'll tell you that. This guy right here in the blue is a cop. His back is to Terryl. He has no idea what's taking place under there. I cannot imagine a crime scene anywhere in the world where this level of negligence is taking place while an active crime scene is being altered in real time. Again, this is not an example where someone gets shot in a grocery store in a major metropolitan area and the police are not on the scene and it takes them 10 minutes to respond and people take advantage of it and start stealing stuff and chaos. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a situation that absolutely could be controlled and they're just not doing it. Here's the reason I raised this. If you have this level of negligence at the crime scene, this level of negligence literally 3 to 5 minutes after the event happens. This is like 5 minutes, 6 minutes after it happens. There are multiple police officers wandering around in the immediate vicinity. Not a single one of them is seeking to establish a perimeter. Not a single one of them is trying to remove people from the scene who are not uniformed officers or not certified officers. Not a single one of them is doing anything to make sure this investigation has any integrity whatsoever. They're allowing footage to be taken away. They're allowing cameras to be taken down. They're allowing the chair to be moved and stood in. They're allowing things to be just picked up and people walk off. They have their back to people while people are actively grabbing stuff. They have no idea what they're grabbing back there. No idea. Now, do you believe all Terryl did was take an SD card? Can I let you in on a secret? I don't. I don't believe that that's all he did. I don't at all believe that's all he did. And here's the problem. It's been destroyed. We have no way to establish exactly what he did because whatever he did is gone. And it was taken while an officer is with a badge, holding a gun, looking the other way, 5-8 feet away from him. And you're going to try to kill a man over this. You're going to try to take Tyler Robinson's life over this. There are people begging for it to be done. They're on Twitter saying the most ghoulish things ever. Fry him. Put him out of his misery. Give him a firing squad. What? We haven't seen all the evidence, but that's neither here nor there. We don't even have a crime scene that has any integrity. We have no idea what took place under that tent, and we never will. We never will. We can't. We can't. It's been fundamentally altered in the first 5 minutes. That's not even to talk about the next 5 days, what took place, where they dug it up and paved over it. This is real-time evidence, not just of Terryl Farnsworth allegedly taking an SD card. That's sinful enough. But we've got the deputy chief of police banging the microphone on the table, moving it. We've got security guards just walking through, traipsing all over stuff. We have multiple cameramen moving around behind the table, walking through the blood pattern. There's no caution tape. There's no police line tape. There's nobody standing around at the points of ingress and egress saying, you can't come down here. Get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? Why are you even trying to walk down here? This is a crime scene. Instead, they're playing on their phone. They're walking around. They're playing, G.I. Joe or something. I don't know. What is he looking for holding a gun? This set the tone for the entire investigation. Every step of the way, this is the way it goes. Every step of the way, this is the way it goes. In the very immediate aftermath of this, critical evidence, things like allegedly Tyler Robinson walking up and down the street, is sent to TMZ, not the chief of police, not the FBI. Nothing about this is going to make sense. As everything starts to come out, because now, we basically have gotten to where they're going to bind it over to a jury. Almost assuredly. I suppose it's possible the judge could look at this and say, what are you out of your mind? You haven't produced any evidence he was even on the roof. How can he fire a gun? How can I have probable cause to believe he fired a roof? It's not against the crime. It's not against the law to go to Chick-fil-A. And you never showed pictures of him in Chick-fil-A. You just told us he was there. And every other picture you showed is blurry. Right? I don't even know if it's him on campus. But let's assume he binds it over the grand jury. Now we're going to get to an interesting phase of the trial because we're going to start to have discovery disputes. We're going to start having 702 hearings where they determine who's an expert and what they can talk about. We're going to start to have evidentiary hearings where they determine what evidence is actually going to be put in front of the jury. It's going to be a very interesting phase. It's going to be probably very long, if I had to guess, 6 months to a year and a half, probably, of this kind of nonsense going back and forth. But what we're going to find out is every step of the way, in all likelihood, this investigation fell far below the standard of a decently run investigation. And it started in the first 3 minutes. I would say it started in the first 3 seconds when the single most important piece of evidence, the body, was picked up like a side of beef and chucked into an SUV. I would say that's where it started. But we know within the first 3 minutes, the crime scene was already being destroyed. So now we have Pam Bondi talk about when the FBI agents showed up. Keep in mind, there were no FBI agents showing up when that 3 to 5 minutes we were talking about. They allegedly showed up about 11 minutes later. But Pam Bondi even gets in on the action. She's the attorney general at the time. FBI and ATF agents are on the scene. Pray for Charlie. This is at 2 p.m. my time. So that would be at 1 p.m. And that was when it was edited. I guess we could look at the edited history. When was that? Okay, so that was 1:57. So that's 12:57. She says FBI agents are on the way. And then by whatever time, FBI agents were actually there. Oh, on the scene. So that's 1 p.m. FBI agents are on the scene. And ATF agents are on the scene. That's 37 minutes after the fact. They already have ATF and FBI agents on the scene. That seems extraordinarily fast to me. I think at some point somebody needs to ask, how the hell did you guys know to get there so quickly? FBI agents within 16 minutes, and within 37 minutes we've confirmed ATF agents on the scene? That seems fast. Seems fast for a routine murder. Now, we've played this video footage before, but I will never get sick of playing this video footage, so we're going to play it again. This is some of the best footage that's ever been played. And now we know precisely when this was taken. It was exactly 50 minutes after the Big Bang took place. 50 minutes, 50 minutes. We have, this is Timpanogos Hospital. This is the emergency room. You know, one thing I don't see in any of this emergency room footage I don't see the SUV. What did they do with the SUV after they dropped Charlie off? I don't see it in the parking lot in any of the footage. I don't see it anywhere. All right, here comes Mikey. So that's 50 minutes it took Mikey to get there. What's Mikey doing for the first 50 minutes? Because there's a timestamp right there. See how it says 2:14? Wait a minute. Why do we say 50 minutes if that's 2:14? And there come the other three. This just gets great. Now, I will point out, and I think I pointed this out in a previous show, his book bag looks lighter than it looked in previous appearances. He's still wearing his backpack. Mikey's still wearing his backpack. They still have their backpacks on. And it looks lighter. It looks lighter to me. What was in the backpack that is now gone from the backpack? I think that's a legitimate question for Danny Phillip. What did you take out of your backpack? Mikey's down to one strap on his backpack, so we can't tell if it's the same size. But with his, we can. And now we know Nate Walker no longer has his little passenger bag. And that's fine. You don't have to carry your passenger bag everywhere. But if you're going to carry your backpack and only 50 minutes has gone by, where's your backpack? Or did I get the 50 minutes wrong? Let me go back and look at my notes here. Oh. 1:14 Mountain Time.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, 1:14 Mountain Time. Excuse me. So it was 50 minutes afterwards. So I guess the obvious question is if Mikey, Danny, and Blake knew that everybody had gone to the hospital, what did they do for 50 minutes? Where were they? Who were they talking to? When Mikey walked off, where did he go? Did he walk into a parking lot and get in a car? Did he talk to somebody out there? Did he stand out there in the parking lot by himself and make calls? Were he and Blake playing, the little kids games? What were they doing out there? Did they order a cheeseburger? Were they waiting on Uber Eats? Did they run up to someone in the comments said Chick-fil-A. They run up to the Chick-fil-A at the Sorensen Center and grab a Chick-fil-A chicken tender sandwich? They're delicious. Maybe they did. Maybe they got a frosted lemonade. But what took them 50 minutes to show up at the hospital? That seems like an extraordinarily long period of time, especially when we're told Mikey's the one who's the admiral. He's the captain. He's the amazing Mikey McCoy. He's the one ordering people around. He's the one calling the vice president. He's the one getting planes up in the air. What was he doing for 50 minutes? Let's assume it took him 10 full minutes to get Charlie Kirk to the hospital, which I think is a little long, but maybe it did. Let's say 10 minutes. What did they do for the next 40? Have any of them talked publicly about what they did for those 50 minutes? Has anyone asked Blake, where did you go in the immediate aftermath? You said you called your mom. Who else did you call? Did you call anyone else? You put that phone away. But what did you do for 50 minutes? That looks suspicious to me. Especially when Blake told us it was, I'm not going to play that. What Blake's initial interview on September 11th, he said it took him about 25 minutes to get to the hospital. Well, you missed it by a factor of 100%, sir. You missed it by half. 25 minutes might be explainable with traffic, trying to get to your car, got to get over there. 50 minutes starts to border on the absurd. Starts to sound like you did something else in the meantime. Now, you told us you called your mom. Has anybody released a call log? Erica Kirk told Candace who Mikey called. Has anyone released a call log of who they called in the immediate aftermath? I think it would be awfully it'd be awfully informative. Who did they talk to? Where did they go? How did they get there? It looked like Blake and Mikey sort of walked off together, off into the background. Did they park in that parking lot? Did they get in a car with somebody in that parking lot? Did they meet with somebody in that parking lot? These are questions that are going to have to be answered if we're going to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. These are going to have to be answered. Because you don't only want to know what happened, you want to know what didn't happen so that you don't have to chase rabbit trails. If you get a call log from Blake, from both of his phones, you get a call, allegedly, you get a call log from Blake and it's just his mom, you go, okay, well, he wasn't on the phone. Actually, we don't know because they use all these weird apps too. Telegram, you can make calls through that. You can make calls through FaceTime. You can make calls through, WhatsApp. So maybe we still wouldn't know, but at least we would know he didn't call using AT&T or Verizon. Then we get another really weird thing here, because we have now a timestamp on what time Terryl Farnsworth left campus. This was a live feed. Notice the time here, 2:36 Mountain Time. At 2:36 Mountain Time, we have Terryl Farnsworth walking out like a boss. Look at him on the phone, backpack on, not a care in the world. Philip Goldsberry back there getting comforted. I don't know the guy's name in the LA hat here, the green LA hat. Looks like he doesn't skip a gym day, though. I'm all right with that. Well, if that's 2:37 p.m. Mountain Time, that's a long time after it happened. That's more than 2 hours afterwards. What were they doing for more than 2 hours before they leave campus? That's more than 2 hours. I asked you a question. Just look at any of their faces. Outside of Philip Goldsberry Jr., did any of them seem remotely bothered by anything that happened? Their friend, their boss, or their contractor, or whatever, the guy they worked with on a daily basis, was tragically murdered. I talked to people the next day who were still crying. These guys seem fine. Go back in your mind. I could play it again, but go back to that footage of Mikey and Danny, and who else was in that? Mikey and Danny and Blake and whoever else it was. Nate showing up at the hospital. Did any of them seem particularly bothered? 50 minutes after it happened, they have no idea what condition he's in. I'm sure they've assumed they've talked to people. I mean, Ben Shapiro had talked to people who had been updated on his condition, on what was going on in the car. Did any of them seem particularly bothered to you? Did any of them seem like this is an out of the ordinary event they didn't expect? I've seen people more upset when their bird died. I've seen people more upset when their gerbil dies. When their goldfish goes. Like they can't bring themselves to flush it down the toilet. They take it out in the backyard and bury it like in a wall of tears. Did they look that way? Did they look particularly broken up to you? They seem fine, for being honest. Seems like they're going to visit their buddy who sprained his ankle on the basketball court. They finished the game, and then they came over to see if he's doing all right. That's a real bother to me. It's a real bother to me. Particularly from someone who was like looking around to make sure no one was catching him doing whatever he was doing in the bloody footprints of the crime scene. Moving the chair, the bloody chair he was standing in. Where is that chair, by the way? Where's the chair? Or the tables? Or the tent? Where's the platform he was standing on? Where's the platform Dan Flood was standing on? Where are the drapes that were over the tables? You know, we talk a lot about where's his shirt. Could the shirt be tested for something that might indicate what happened to him? What about the chair he was in? That'd be a pretty good source of information. Why was there more concern with locking down the hospital than locking down the crime scene? Does that strike you as a little out of balance to you? People get shot every day. They're going to hospitals every day with gunshot wounds. If you live in a major metropolitan area like Chicago, Detroit, we used to live in Montgomery, Alabama. If you listen to the police scanner, it's gunshot wounds all night. Sometimes you'll go to the ER because your kid is sick at 1 a.m. and there's 3 or 4 gunshot wounds taking place at the exact same time. They don't lock the hospital down. They don't take the cameras. They don't put police tape up. They don't tell people they can't come or go. Why is the microphone he's holding in an acrylic box at a fundraiser? Why is it not in an evidence locker somewhere where it could be tested to see, was it functioning properly? Did it short out? Was it Was it damaged in some way in everything that happened? Why was it released to the wife to use as a fundraiser? Where's the Rode microphone? You would think if that Rode microphone, I've got one here somewhere. Here it is. These are pretty robust. You would think if this Rode microphone was still intact and attached to his shirt, even if they had to cut the shirt off for extraordinary, heroic, life-saving measures, but this thing is still on his shirt, like, this isn't going any. Oh, yeah, it is going somewhere. I did that earlier to test it. It didn't go anywhere. This thing is pretty robust. It's not going to come off. It didn't come off when whatever has happened and his shirt went all crazy. It's not going to come off when they carry him to the car. Don't you think this is a pretty critical piece of evidence? Where is this thing? I'd love to find the magnet so I could put it back on. I'll find it after the show. But those things are pretty robust. Where is it? Where is it? Is it in a police locker somewhere, or is it in an acrylic case where they're fundraising off of it? All this stuff could be tested. All this stuff could be evaluated by examiners. All this stuff could be evaluated by investigators, by law enforcement and professionals to determine, is the microphone still functional? Was it ever on? Was it still recording after the fact? We've talked a lot about the necklace and the cell phone, that the police should have taken that. Shouldn't they have taken the Rode microphone he was wearing? The necklace he was wearing? I raise all this because at some point, if this does go to trial and Tyler Robinson stays alive, these questions will have to be addressed at some point. Where is the Rode microphone? You want to tell us the Rode microphone didn't explode and we're just crazy animals for suggesting it might have been damaged and pieces of it might have been on the floorboard of the SUV he was transported in? Well, just show us the microphone. Guys, this is the microphone he was using. I used this microphone the other day. I recorded hours of footage on this microphone. That footage exists in 2 places. 3, really. It exists here, it exists in the receiver, and it exists in the computer. Like, that audio is in 3 different places, but it's still here because it hadn't been overwritten. If you plug this right now into a computer, it will play the last audio that I recorded. If you're an investigator looking into this and you're trying to rule out everything and you're sold out on a gunshot, isn't that an easy thing to do? Where's that microphone? Why don't we have it? Why don't we have it? Here's a screenshot. This is from 1:11 p.m. at Utah Valley Hospital. Alert. Emergency condition impacting Utah Valley Hospital. This area is now on lockdown. Do not exit building until further notice. Again, people get shot every day. Not only did they lock down the hospital where he was, they locked down a hospital in another city. Utah Valley Hospital is in Provo. It's like miles away, and it was locked down. One of the things that's going to come up in this investigation is, what did you do and why was it different from what you normally do? What's your standard protocol and what did you do? If you're Tyler Robinson's attorney, don't you want to know that question? What did you do? And did you do the same things you do in other murder investigations? When someone else gets shot in Orem, Utah, do they let private contractors come in and take the footage of it? Like, you have footage of a murder, and you let a private contractor just come in back there and move the chairs around, stand up in the chairs, grab the cameras off, move the cameras over to the table, take stuff out of the camera, take stuff off of the camera, whatever it is. Is that how you normally handle a murder investigation? People just traipse all over the crime scene? You're going to have to convince a jury that this was done properly and that the evidence before them is exactly what they would get in any other murder investigation. In the immediate aftermath of this, a couple of strange things happened. A couple of very strange things happened. One of them was that other people were told they were targets and could likewise have a similar fate. Here is Candace Owens describing this. This is back in October that she's describing it. But she's describing something that happened weeks earlier.
Obsessive, erratic, neurotic. There is a real risk here, right? I do not accept, and neither do you guys, that Charlie Kirk lost his life because he really pissed off the trans lobby. It terrifies me to think that on the day that Charlie died, I got multiple phone calls from people who said that me and Tucker should lay low because we're also on the list. And they never told us who specifically told them that, by the way. Now I'm wondering why they never told us who specifically told them that. I called Tucker. I'm like, are you hearing the same thing I'm hearing? They're saying that we're next. And now I go, was that supposed to be a threat to me and Tucker? To have us watch the public execution of a friend of ours and then to call us and to say, you should lay low for a little bit because you guys, we're hearing that you guys are on a list. Was that just supposed to be a threat? Because why wouldn't you be more forthcoming with exactly who you heard that from? And I said, I remember saying, I was like, did the feds say this? Who said this specifically? Because why aren't they calling me and Tucker? Why am I calling Tucker and telling him about this? And I did. He will tell you that. The day that Charlie Kirk was shot, this really happened. And I'm coming out of the grief stage and realizing I think that was an element of this.
I think that was an element of a threat. One of the recurring questions we get on this show time and time again is, why is Megyn Kelly being weird about this investigation? Why is she accepting the Fed slop narrative? Our friend Travis over at Nilo X on X found this little goodie from Megyn Kelly where she described a threat she received.
And Abby texted me saying, stand down, like, hold on before you come. And I was like, what happened?
There was a threat that had been faxed that was really nasty. And it was very specific, which is scary, especially 10 days after Charlie's assassination.
I said, send it to me. And she said, MK, I don't think you should read it. You know, it's being handled. And I said something I've never said to Abby before. Don't make me ask twice.
So I forwarded it along and we hung up the phone.
I start seeing a little bit of it and I'm like, holy shit. It was faxed to Virginia Tech. We're due to leave in 45 minutes. This is serious. They know details. It's pretty descriptive. They kind of know the location. And it was kind of the same threat that killed Charlie.
Kind of the same threat that killed Charlie. I would say the three most prominent conservative podcasters on September 10th were Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens. The three people who have traditionally not bought the mainstream narrative of crimes and government operations. The three people who probably would be most likely to look into this and say, this doesn't make sense. I don't like the looks of this. It looks like something other than Tyler Robinson might have conspired to have Charlie Kirk removed from this earth. And I think it's funny that those were the three who were targeted with these threats. You didn't have to target Benny Johnson. He's on the team. May or may not be compromised. I don't know why he's so committed to the team. Same with Jack Posobiec. Same with Officer Tater Tot. Same with Blake Neff, Andrew Colvette, Graham Allen. Like these people, for whatever reason, whether it's they're compromised or they're paid or whatever it is, these people are on the team, squarely on the team. You don't have to worry about them investigating who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. But Tucker Carlson, he might. And he's out here releasing Thomas Crook's videos. He's out here releasing 9/11 videos. He doesn't buy any mainstream narrative. You tell him that this is what the mainstream says, he's like, they didn't kill, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill JFK. The government killed him. Well, that's somebody you're going to have to keep quiet. That's somebody you're going to have to control. Same thing with Megyn Kelly. Look at her work on the Koberger case in Idaho. Well, Megyn Kelly's in there saying, well, it sounds like someone else might have been in the house. Why did they knock the house down? I don't know. I'm not sure this guy did it. Why didn't we get a trial? Why did we get a life without parole plea? Why will we never get answers to what happened? Megyn Kelly is someone who could have been a real thorn in their flesh on this investigation. Now look at Candace Owens. That's a loose end you've got to tie down if you're going to pull something like this off. You've got to find a way to quiet her. What better way than, hey, perhaps you should lay low. You and Tucker should lay low. Who said that? I'm not going to tell you. But you're on the list. You're on the same list. Are we to believe she's on some trans list in St. George, Utah? That's the list she's on? That's the story we're going with, that Tyler Robinson and his Magic the Gathering friends and his guys in there playing Dungeons and Dragons are somehow coming up with a list and putting Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens on it? That's the story here? No. This looks coordinated. This looks like, let's identify the people we have to shut down in order to get this thing and pull this off. Let's make sure they get the notice that they don't want to play around with us. We're going to use the same language. We're going to fax a threat. Fax. We're going to fax a threat. When's the last threat that was faxed? If we're being honest, go back through history. When was the last threat that was faxed? Probably pre 9/11. No one uses fax machines. I remember one time I called to get medical records. This is 10 or 15 years ago. It was a while back. We were moving and I needed to take my kids' medical records with me. Then so I said, I'm going to come by and pick them up. They said, we'll just fax them. You will? Where? Where are you going to fax these records? Who faxes things in 2025? Who faxes anything, much less a vague or a highly specific threat to Megyn Kelly? It seems like there was an effort to contain the investigation. Why would you want to contain the investigation? Well, guys, we're sitting here right now on August 2nd. We're like 6 weeks away, 5-6 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of this. Tyler Robinson hasn't even been determined to, they have not even established probable cause to determine that Tyler Robinson needs to go to trial. There are people spending thousands of hours of their own time on this investigation. You multiply that times tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people who are interested in this investigation, who are actually actively looking into it, spending time, getting on the computer, researching stuff, pulling property records. I mean, my goodness, Daisy spent hours looking at carpets in funeral homes in Utah to try to determine which room was Charlie Kirk in when they filmed that horribly creepy video of Erica Kirk draped all over the casket, the corpse, not just the casket. They could not have imagined Daisy 8 months, 9 months later looking over funeral home carpet. We're not alone. There's a guy in Australia named Muppet Masher. I don't even think that's his Christian name, but that's what's his handle. That's what he goes by. He made it his life's mission to identify everybody at the scene. Everyone at the scene. And he's done a really good job. I think there are only a couple of people still outstanding that I would like to know who they are that he's not able to determine who they are yet. There's a guy in a blue shirt and a pink hat. I know Blake Bednarz has spent a lot of time trying to figure out who that is. He's got a ponytail. Nobody knows who that is. He's all over the crime scene, walking back and forth, picking stuff up, kicking stuff with his feet, moving stuff out of the way. We have no idea who that guy is. Do you think they anticipated Muppet Masher? Creating cork boards with Polaroids on it and then writing in the names as he identifies everybody one by one? No. Do you think they imagined Ian Carroll opening the web.io and uploading every court document and every piece of evidence into this thing? And so that, like, for a nominal fee every month, you could access this database and search like natural language query transcripts of every podcaster covering this, and, you know, whokilledck.com with all the transcripts uploaded that you could natural language query? No. But do you think there's evidence that exists that whoever did this was afraid that people like Candace, Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly might dig into this and launch a decentralized investigation? Yes. Yes, I do. I think the threats are that evidence. The threats are that evidence. And we've just gone to the crime scene. What happened at the hospital? Did it meet the standard of how you handle a dead body? Was the investigation done exactly the way a murder investigation is always done? Is the person who was assigned to investigate it, was he allowed to do his investigation? We'll look at that later in the week. Did the medical examiners do anything unusual in this case? How long should this autopsy have taken place? How long did it take? Where did the body go before and after the autopsy? How long should that have taken? I did a whole show on it last week or 2 weeks ago and speculated. I've learned a lot since then. I know some mortician lady on YouTube clipped that episode. It was great. I don't mind it at all. She did a great job. Disagree with me on a lot, and I don't care. I'm not prideful. I don't care if people disagree with me. But she went through and looked at her own timeline and suggested of when things might have been able to take place. At some point, they're going to have to come off the timeline. At some point, that medical examination is going to be evaluated. That autopsy is going to be evaluated, and we're going to see what time it started and what time it ended. We're going to see every single procedure that was done. We're going to know all the pictures that were taken. We may not see the pictures, but at least we'll have knowledge of how many pictures were taken and how many pictures are going to go in front of the jury and all these kinds of things. Was this autopsy handled properly? Was all the evidence preserved that should have been preserved at the autopsy? Was everything photographed that should have been photographed? Based on some of the injuries they released in the autopsy clippings, I guess you could call it, or a little copy paste out of the autopsy report that the state used in their recent filing in support of binding this trial over for a jury. We were able to figure out the nature of some of the injuries to Charlie's heart, to his lungs, to the space between his ribs, to his brain, to his neck, to the soft tissue in his neck, to the cartilage tissue in his neck, all the different pieces there, all the vascular structure. It talked about which ones were damaged and which ones weren't. All that complicates the autopsy. It slows it down. In order to evaluate that those injuries happened, you have to appreciate the injuries, and then you have to do things to document the injuries and then to preserve the evidence from those injuries. Were those things documented properly? Were they preserved? Joseph Scott Morgan and I talked about that a great deal. I think that's going to be really illuminating. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it was a really, really deep, rich discussion. And we were able to establish from an expert, from Joseph Scott Morgan, who has served as an expert witness many times, who has trained medical professionals who do these types of things, who's trained police officers who do these types of things. We were able to establish through that conversation sort of a minimum standard that almost had to be met in order for this autopsy to be any good at trial. It'll be very interesting to see if they met that standard. Because on the off chance they did not meet that standard, it's going to be difficult to prove Tyler Robinson did this. It's going to be difficult to prove he was shot with a 30-06. It's going to be difficult to say that he was shot with a 30-06 from a roughly 9-degree offset. It's going to be difficult to preserve or prove that he was shot from an elevated position from 138 yards away. There are minimum standards that must be met in an investigation, starting at the crime scene. I would argue those standards were obliterated. They were obliterated, meaning the crime scene no longer has much value. The value begins to diminish with each movement of each object, with each person who walks through it. Well, good luck going back now and doing any kind of sound analysis. The sound of that facility has changed because now there's concrete and flower planters where there used to be soft grass and soil. Good luck trying to recreate the height and the position because there's concrete planters there. I mean, there's concrete pavers there. Good luck. And if you don't have that seat, good luck finding a chair that's the exact match. Because you're going to want to do all this stuff. And if this stuff wasn't preserved properly, how are you going to prove that the gunshot came from the location you claim it did? It's almost like there was never supposed to be an investigation. I believe more and more every day that I dig into this. This is not something I raised with Joseph Scott Morgan when we talked the other day, but it's almost as if Tyler Robinson was not supposed to turn himself in. I don't think he was supposed to survive. And if he wasn't supposed to survive, if that was the plan, that you were going to take an innocent person, a patsy, or maybe not an innocent person, we don't know what his plans were that day, but if you were going to take someone who did not pull the trigger on a 30-06 from the Losi Center roof, and you were going to remove him from this earth before he turned himself in, do you have much qualms with removing him from this earth while he sits in Utah jail waiting on trial? I renew my concern, and I renew this often because I want this to be front of mind for people. I think it helps keep Tyler Robinson alive. I have grave concern for Tyler's safety. I have grave concern for Tyler's safety. Last thing I want to do. When Candace Owens released this footage last week, she not only aided the investigation because we were able to now get an actual camera angle where you could actually see, legs, a body, a torso, a head. It's not just pixelated blob moving across the thing. But again, I pause it here. You can't point to a 30-06 here. This is a 3.5 foot long gun, 42-inch long gun. Oh, there's no 30-06 there. Period. End of story. I don't know whether there's additional footage of this quality that exists. But the footage she played, and I'll just kill the volume and let it roll. The footage she played is an enhanced version, a higher quality. There's no gun there, by the way. I just going to keep pointing that out. There is no gun there. There's not a 42-inch long firearm in that man's hands. It just doesn't exist. But the footage she played was enhanced quality of footage that's already been made available. Think about the consequences of that. Now, maybe this is all she has. Again, I have no idea what she has in the hopper. Maybe this is all she has. Maybe whatever her source was, this is all they were able to capture and give to her. But what if it's not? What if it's not? Because one of the things we've had a difficult time discerning is whether and what was in this guy, whether he had a gun, and if not a gun, what did he have in his hands? There's no gun there. What did he have in his hands when he climbed off the roof? But her footage ends there. I'm very curious when this goes to trial, or perhaps sooner, if there's enhanced footage from other angles? Will we be able to get an answer about what was in his hands when he climbed off the roof or jumped from the roof or ran off towards the street? Will we be able to see any better? Because at some point, you got to put a gun in that man's hand. He's not accused of throwing a screwdriver at Charlie Kirk. You can't tell me there's a screwdriver on the roof, and that's enough. Now, I said one more thing. It was actually two. Oh, goodness gracious. We've got more footage from the Joseph Scott Morgan interview. I can assure you there were serious discussions taking place right here. Julian Dorey put this up on X. I can assure you there was a very serious discussion taking place right there. I have no idea what it was about. But do you see the level of respect? This is a guy who disagrees with my conclusions. He's not calling me evil. He's not calling me demonic. He's not calling me stupid. He's not suggesting I have ulterior motives. There's a Rode microphone in front of me if you want to know what I recorded on that Rode microphone. Right next to my glass. I guess I gave that away. And the Alp right there. That doesn't help either. But that's an off-the-record conversation while the cameras weren't going. There was no anger. There was no ill will. Ask yourself a question. If Andrew Colvette and I were in a room together and we were disagreeing on what took place on that day, do you think that would be the scene? Him showing me something on a phone and demonstrating something with his hand in a medical professional way? And saying, hey, Baron, have you considered X, Y, and Z? Here, let me show you something. Let me pull something up on my phone that demonstrates the anatomy I'm talking about. Now, imagine this. I don't even remember what he was saying right there. I don't know if Deef took that or Julian took that. Again, you got to be very careful, apparently, when you're on someone else's set. They're constantly imaging you. It was a level of friendliness, kindness, and mutual desire to get to the truth of what happened. I don't think he's operating in bad faith, and I don't believe he thinks I'm operating in bad faith. But at some point, they're going to have to establish there's a firearm somewhere. And if the footage of him climbing off the roof is actually as high quality as that footage there, we should get an answer to that question. Oh, yeah, this is what I was doing. I was going to go to Candace's tweet from, was it today or yesterday? Oh, here it is. This gives me a clue, perhaps, the answer to my question of whether additional footage might exist. You guys may read into this differently. Here's how I read it. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that the influencers and TPUSA are absolutely lying about the existence of footage of Tyler Robinson, or any person for that matter, assembling the gun on the rooftop. That footage does not exist. Save this tweet. It will age well. I'm just making a guess here. I'm just going to guess that the footage we've seen might not be the end of all the footage we end up seeing. I'm just wagering a guess. But Baron, do you know for a fact? No, I don't. But Baron, has she told you? No, she hasn't. But I can read between the lines. If there's a 30-06 on the roof, at some point in some angle of some footage, it has to be visible. It's too big of a firearm to hide. especially if someone's screwing it together with a screwdriver. And if she's confident making that statement in the shadows of the mountain of evidence she's already provided us on what took place on that rooftop, then I'm guessing she might have a reason to say that. We've already caught him lying once. Oh, you can see him pull the trigger. You can see him take the shot. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't see him in the quality that you guys saw in the courtroom, and you can't even see it in the better quality that she was able to provide. If she drops additional footage, it will be a nightmare scenario for the prosecution. It will be a nightmare scenario for the Fed slop narrative. It will be a nightmare scenario for the idea that Tyler Robinson was on that roof with a 30-06. It'll be a nightmare. No 30-06, no conviction. I'm just telling you right now. He's not alleged to have taken a shot with another weapon. He's alleged to have taken a shot with a 30-06. He's not alleged to have thrown a screwdriver 138 yards and hit Charlie Kirk in the neck. He's alleged to have put a gun together with a screwdriver. That's what they tell us. I actually heard somebody make a comment, and I thought about it. I didn't actually pull the filings, but I started thinking about it. And they may be right, that there's actually no allegation in any of the filings to date that he did actually use the screwdriver to put the 30-06 together, and that the 30-06 came in pieces. That may not be the allegation. I have to go back and look at that. Maybe I'll have that tomorrow.
We briefly mentioned that on the last episode. I think the most recent filing where they were citing a bunch of stuff from the medical examiner's report, I think that's the first time we've seen them. It is actually, it was exhibit 3.1 as a screwdriver. And they tried to say that the photo of the screwdriver is what they're citing. And they're saying that that's what he used to put together the gun.
But did they say he did it on the roof?
No, they just cite the exhibit of the photograph that was taken on the roof.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think we have any official filing, any official statement that's made it in front of a judge, or that could make it in front of a judge, that says he assembles it on the roof. Only that the screwdriver ended up on the roof and that the gun at some point was assembled. But the Fed sloppers have told us that's what took place. They told us they saw it. Oh, you can see him putting this gun together with a screwdriver. That you better be able to. Or the credibility of the Fed slop narrative is going to take another massive hit. It just is. I think right now, friends, the momentum is in our side. It's in our favor. I genuinely think that. You got a correction?
Yes, they did say it. So it
that
says
that he assembled it on the roof?
Yeah, it says here, I'll give you the link in the run if you want. But it says defendant used a screwdriver to assemble the rifle on the Losi building roof.
Now, I did not remember seeing that. So that's good. That's good to know. We aim to be right. We aim to be right. That's what I mean by being right. So now we do have a statement that they say he assembled on the roof. So you better be able to see it. Candace doesn't think you can. Apparently she has a reason to believe that. Maybe she has a source who's seen the footage, or maybe no one knew she had that footage until she dropped it on people's heads. Who knows what she has in her tool bag? I don't know, guys. I mean, I think the momentum's in our favor. I think the Fed slop narrative is crashing down all around them. Crashing down all around them. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I pray for Tyler's safety. I don't know if he left the house with clean hands that day. I honestly don't know. I don't know if he knew that there would be an attempt on Charlie Kirk's life or not. I don't know if he thought he was part of some criminal conspiracy to take Charlie Kirk out. I'm pretty convinced he did not himself planned to remove Charlie Kirk from this earth and accomplish that objective. I'm pretty convinced. I'm open to it. I could be convinced otherwise, but every piece of evidence that comes out furthers the notion that that's not what happened. Every single piece of evidence that comes out makes me more convinced that's not what happened. But I remain open to it. I'm not going to close my mind to any outcome. I'm not closing my mind to a multi-agency cover-up. I'm not closing my mind to some foreign mercenary group showing up and doing this without the knowledge or approval of any government. I don't think so, but I'm open to it. Show me evidence of it, I'll believe it. But each new piece of evidence seems to suggest that Tyler Robinson didn't do it. But if he left the house that day intending to be part of something, then he's not what we would call innocent of all charges. Or he's not innocent. But he might be innocent of the charges he's charged with right now, which is killing Charlie Kirk. That's two different things. You can be innocent of killing Charlie Kirk and still very much have been part of some crime. Maybe you're the getaway driver. Maybe you're the guy who throws the clothes away. Maybe you're the guy who plants the gun. Maybe you're the guy who picks up the gun. I don't know what your role is. But if he didn't leave the house that day intending to shoot Charlie Kirk from the Losi Center with a .30-06, then he should not be found guilty of it. The criminal justice system should have a very high standard before it convicts somebody. You should be far more willing to let a guilty person go than you are to convict an innocent person. And in cases where the evidence is this muddy and this confusing, I don't think you have a choice. I don't think you have a choice. You can't prove your case. Crime scene was all screwed up. There's no video footage that he has a .30-06. Bam. Lots of murders there aren't video footage. Yeah, but when there are, you expect to see what they tell you you should see. You know, if somebody gets shot on a street corner and there are no street cameras around and there's nobody video recording it, you're not going to have footage of it. But if they tell you somebody, Bill shot Steve at on a street corner, and then there's video footage of it, and Bill doesn't have a gun in his hand, and Steve falls over dead, you are allowed to look at it and say, I don't see a gun. I don't even see him pointing that direction. He's looking the other way. Why are you telling me he did it? Oh, I promise he did it. No, I'm allowed to use my common sense. I'm allowed to look at it and say, I don't see a gun. We have video footage of something running across that roof, and I don't see a .30-06 in their hands. It's a big gun. A big gun. I told you, I got out in the yard and crawled around with rifles the other day. They're hard to hide. They're hard to hide because you got to kind of use them as a counterbalance. You can't crawl with one in your chest. You got to kind of out here with it as you're crawling around. You got to kind of tuck your hand around the stock, the forward part of the stock as you crawl. And that gun's just hanging out. Or if you're doing the little lateral crawl, you got to hold the whole thing in your hand under your arm. And that thing is sticking out behind you and is sticking out in front of you. I tried to pull that thing up. You don't have balance. You can't do it. It's too awkward. So I think this will be a fun week. I think it'll be a big week for news. I think it'll be a big week for the Tyler Robinson case. I think it'll be a bad week for Fed sloppers. I know what I plan to cover this week. I don't know what other podcasters plan to cover, but I think it's going to be a big week. And hold on to your hat. I don't think you'll need your whole seat this week. Just the front edge, just the little piece on the front, like that curls down a little bit. That's all you're going to need this week. You'll be on the edge of your seat the whole week. I'm pretty confident. If you've liked the video, by all means, please give it a like. With the new YouTube algorithm changes, I'm sure other people have told you this as well. If you don't like the video, it's almost as if you didn't show up. They are really only judging interactions anymore, more than views. So if you're not interacting with the video, the host doesn't get much credit when it comes to seeing if we'd like to feed this out to other people. So by all means, if you get the opportunity, if you've liked it, I'm not suggesting you like it if you don't, but if you liked it, click the thumbs up button. That'll help the channel quite a bit. If you've subscribed, great. Double check, make sure you're still subscribed. If you have not subscribed, no better time than right now. Go hit subscribe. While you're there, there's an option to join the channel right next to the subscribe button. If you join the channel, if you do it from your phone or from a YouTube app, it's going to add $3 that goes to Apple. I don't get that. So jump on a browser. You can join that way. And it'll save you $3 a month. But it's a nice way to make a little monthly contribution so we can continue to put out good content, continue to investigate and put this thing together. So I would appreciate all those things. But any or all of them, that's up to you. That's up to you. In the meantime, I will roll through some of your comments because this is where we get to interact. This is the fun part. Let me make the screen a little larger here. Baron, have y'all looked into Russell Kennington? He was arrested the next morning at UVU. Diligent Denizen has been covering the eyewitness video, more than released. Thank you, and Daisy. Christ is king indeed. I have looked into Russell Kennington, Russell Kim Kennington. We showed his arrest records. We showed the video of him being carried out. We looked at the gun, tried to figure out what that was. Was it his gun? Was it someone else's gun? Was it a gun at all? Was it something else? Is that an evidence tag hanging from it? So we have covered that, but I appreciate you asking. Greetings, B. I don't think there was a 911 call because they would have directed them to a higher level trauma hospital. Timpanogos was only L3. Awful. I've learned so much from you. Thankful. Christ is king indeed. I don't know that that's true. If you've got a gunshot wound to the neck and somebody is 5 minutes away and on the way to your hospital, I don't know that you can tell them, hey, find a safe place to do a U-turn and drive 20 minutes the other way. I'm not sure that call would go. Baron, love the show. I believe Charlie told the Beebster over my dead body to his offer. So Erica Kirk said yes and couldn't not show her response with, here I am. It's done. Christ is king indeed. I mean, that's a thought. That's a thought. I don't know. I don't disagree with your conclusion, but I don't have any firm basis for it other than she's really weird. Habi sent email regarding Jacob Reese's being on the ground 910, chief of staff of VP. I think he managed clearing out of Timpanogos because much smaller, even if ill-equipped. Would love your thoughts, Dark if true. I've seen no evidence Jacob Reese's was there. Jacob Reese's is the chief of staff for JD Vance, at least for now. I think he's leaving here soon or has already left. But he certainly was on September 10th. I've seen no evidence Jacob Reese's was there. I've heard people making this allegation that he was there, and it's based on a loose interpretation of something Brian Harpole said on the Sean Ryan show. I'd play it, but I don't want to pull it up. He said something like, then I got on the phone with the vice president called the chief of staff. I don't know if he's talking about the chief of staff of the hospital. All hospitals have a chief of staff. I don't know if he called the chief of staff of the hospital, if he called Mikey McCoy, who was the chief of staff. Mikey McCoy allegedly was the one interacting with Vice President Vance. So I don't think we can draw that conclusion that Jacob Reese's was at Timpanogos Hospital. It would certainly be weird because no one has mentioned his name associated with this case in any capacity whatsoever. And that would be a new arrival on the scene. If Jacob Reese's was there, that would, in my opinion, be very suspect because why has that been hidden? He's a pretty big dignitary. I think someone would have mentioned him by now. So we'll have to hold judgment on that. We'll have to reserve judgment on that. I missed the mason jar wine glass. Well, how about mason jar tea glass? This is what I drank my tea out of this morning. I'll bring the mason jar wine glass back. I think Edge sent those. Well, she sent 2 of them. I'll bring them back. If Rick Cutler was Charlie Kirk's security, why was he the only one behind the barricade and facing Charlie Kirk? Leads me to believe he was aware of what was about to happen. I don't believe that's accurate. I think there were others behind the barricade. They had people around the tent and they had people in the crowd as well. I don't think he was the only one. So I disagree with your conclusion. So grateful for my husband providing prayers for me to find a job. Well, Megs and Cheese, I will pray for you. I'm assuming the Lord Almighty knows who Megs and Cheese is. I'm assuming he does. Greetings, Baron and Jury, from your number one fan in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of the first banana split. Yum. Christ is king indeed. Go Max. Hey, the first banana split and Rolling Rock. You missed the real thing they're known for, but banana splits are delicious. There used to be a ice cream place near where I used to live It's called Brewster's. And if you brought your own banana on a certain day, you got like a banana split for $1 or something. Maybe you got $1 off. I can't remember. But you could pick the ripeness of your banana. Like you like a really ripe banana in your banana split? Bring a brown baby. You like them kind of green? Bring that grass tasting thing. A great episode with Julian Dorey. Oh, thank you. Have you already watched it? You must be a member of his Patreon. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I really did. Thank you for my second order of t-shirts. Perfect timing to make them to Ocean City, Maryland with me tomorrow. See if high IQ people there. Lost my husband of 20 years in 2021. First, I'm sorry for your loss. But I'm glad you'll be looking awfully high IQ while you're strolling along the beach in Ocean City, Maryland. That's some consolation. Some consolation. But I am sorry for your loss. Miami Beach, Florida, checking in. Christ is king indeed. Hi, Baron. Great interview with Julian. Looking forward to part 2. Thank you for your work. Blessings to you and your family. 2 people have watched it. If Julian gets a bunch of new Patreons, this could really help my standing with him. He might have me back. I kid. Sort of. Evening, Bear. Evening. I feel like I need to tip my cap when you say evening. You were close on last name a few weeks ago. It's pronounced Milray. Oh. Number 1 fan in Kimberly, Idaho. Hubby's number 2. Don't tell him that. Christ is king indeed. Milray. I've never heard that name before. That's beautiful. We're here with our new baby girl awaiting our first high IQ show. Awaiting her first high IQ show. Thanks, Baron. Christ is king indeed. I wonder if my granddaughter's ever watched. She was here today. She was asleep when she came in. But yeah, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I hope she enjoys it. It's been a fun 6 months. Love my RBP mug. Christ is king indeed. Indeed. Good mug. Do I have a high IQ mug in here? I don't. I did. Gifted 10 membos. Wow. Banger. I got a couple of guests lined up. I'm not sure when they're going to come on, but they'll be fun. They'll be fun. Love your show. Number 1 from Berryville. Christ is king indeed. I don't know where Berryville is, but I'm sure it's beautiful. Imagine Judge Graff slowly realizing his case involves a multi-agency cover-up. I feel bad for the guy. Yeah, me too. I genuinely feel bad for him. That'd be tough. Owens Coleman, 2028, that is all. Well, I would do that. I wouldn't mind being vice president. I don't want to be president because I have to be a tyrannical dictator if I'm going to have power. I can't do this negotiating with the Senate business. I just got to take over. I might have to send in the military, arrest them all, and then just rule with an iron fist. And it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be a rough few years. But when we come out of it, you guys will be so thankful. It'll be austere for a few years. But when we get out of it, you guys will say, wow. They'll be putting statues of me up. I'm not kidding. No interest in being president. My B, we've missed you. Christ is king indeed. I've missed you. Danksters reporting for jury duty. Christ is king indeed. I was watching the Dankster right before I went on. I had him on in the background on that monitor there. And I saw him jump off right before I went on. Baron. If the truth comes out about CK, and I wholeheartedly believe it will, what do you think will happen to Blady Blake and TPUSA as a whole? Love what you're doing. Christ is king. Go back. So I guess it depends on what happens. I guess it depends on what truth comes out. Did you look at the Lance interrogation? I played the whole thing on the show. The guy next to the interrogator tells him to change with a hand gesture. No, I'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't catch that. Is there a particular part where he does that? Because it helped me. Did you see Val and Jesse in Bays, where there might have been a second shooter arrested and released with a pew-pew? Very interesting if true. Love you, Precious King. Go back. Again, I covered that months ago. I think I covered it twice. I think I covered it like in October and then covered it again a couple of months ago. What up, my B? Hope you got to see more than the Northeast industrial part of New Jersey. The rest is what we call the Garden State, including Hamilton, New Jersey, blueberry capital of the world. Thanks for all you do. I saw the little town Julian's in. It's lovely. I mean, it's truly lovely. I told him it's like going to New York without the noise and the smell. It was great. Nice little view of the city, but I don't have to be in it. Close as I want to be. I love you, New Yorkers. I genuinely do. I think you guys are great. I don't see how you do it, but you guys probably wouldn't want to live where I live. Too much greenery, too many trees, too many rolling hills, too many friendly people out in their driveways picking up the newspaper saying, howdy, neighbor. I couldn't handle all that niceness. You guys are used to the hustle and bustle of the Big Apple. Hey, Baron, love you and your show. Can you wish our ma a very happy 64th birthday beneath the waters and on all four pillars? Christ is king indeed, and God bless. Yeah, ma, happy birthday. I don't know what the rest of that means, but happy birthday indeed. Be in high Q, please pray for Okanogan City in Spokane, Washington. All right, duly noted, duly noted. Will do, will do. Love you, Bubba Baron. I love you more, Adrian. In all honesty, when we find out the departments, countries, or the who's that plan CK, who will sue, bring the charges, who will hold them accountable, what's the legal truth and ability? Christ is king indeed. I don't know. I guess it depends on who they are. Depends on if we ever get an admission or some kind of bulletproof evidence that can't be denied. I go back to who killed JFK? Who killed Robert F. Kennedy? Who killed Martin Luther King? Who killed Malcolm X? Who really shot Ronald Reagan? Watch Tucker's latest interview with Elizabeth Lane. She exposes Gary from Paranoid Tactical and how the feds bought him off. Christ is king. I have watched it. Obviously don't have the ability to fact check it all in real time. I know Gary has denied a lot of what she said. So, but it was a very interesting episode. Very interesting episode. Hey, my B. Been following loosely a while, but going max post hearings. Esquire in NOLA. Pulled all pleadings and now doing some cool stuff in Westlaw co-counsel. AI. If you ever could use access to such a database to run inquiry, let me know. We'll do it, Kyle Sepulveda. Or I guess in California they call that Sepulveda. Not sure which way you pronounce it, good sir. I think all the pleadings are available for free. I hope you didn't pay for them. I think Andrea Burkhart has them all for free. I've never heard of Westlaw co-counsel AI. I haven't used Westlaw in years. Years. Meatloaf colored hoodie is my personal favorite. It's not meatloaf. It's prime rib or bean paste. We're going to keep it clean. It's one of those two. Why did the tomato turn red? Saw the salad dressing. Yeah, we heard that. Someone gave that joke a couple shows ago. Love Julian Barron. Talk about a high IQ. Perhaps the other guest was the blonde-haired young attorney that attacks Candace. I don't even know who that is. Who's the blonde-haired young attorney that attacks Candace? I don't know who that is. I don't know. It was not. It was Joseph Scott Morgan. Number one fan from Northern Arizona. Grateful for you and your podcast. Keep on keeping on. Christ is king always. Northern Arizona. Around the Page area, perhaps. Thank you for all your honesty and hard work. Christ is king. I pray God blesses you and your family, and you as well. You as well. Went to UVU yesterday. There are 14 cameras around the bus stop. We should know everything about whose backpack was left there. Tragic in person. Now, that's interesting. That's a really good question. Why do we not know? Why have we not seen that? Why is there a question? Again, if you want us to buy your Fed slop, show us the answers to our question. Mentioned to my hubby that I wanted the bull butter hat. Next thing I know, he sends me a screenshot showing it's ordered and on the way. Don't settle, ladies. Ladies, your man owes you a bull butter hat. That's what I learned tonight. If you want to be a good husband, you got to buy a bull butter hat. X spaces equals disruptive distraction and confusion. I'm almost over them, honestly. I'm about done listening to them. There have been some good ones along the way, but the host has to be extremely disciplined. And to the extent a host is trying to make friends and not have a good conversation, it's going to be a disaster. Because the people can't help themselves. They're just terrible. Never heard of Elizabeth Lane until she was recently on Tucker Carlson's show. She's doing a great job. She's been around a while. She's doing a good job. I've watched more investigating in one episode than of the first 48 Than all of Charlie's case? Okay, Roger. King Barrett, I just paused the JD interview. It's strange. I was so proud. Like, proud of my friend. You shared so much with us since the end of September of 25, and you're such a huge part of my life. Thanks for everything. God bless you. Oh, Anna, you're a huge part of my life. Thank you. I'm interested to watch it. I actually have a copy of it on a disc. It's right here. But I don't like watching myself. I thought about plugging it in and watching it. I should just subscribe to his Patreon. That would be easier. Great to see you on Julian Dorey. Does a judge get to see the discovery that is shared between prosecution and defense? No, not always. Also can get intellectually honest, philosophically consistent on a hat. Nurse Casey, you're being beckoned. She probably can arrange that. Daisy's a mean hat maker as well. Hail Baron. I've been hailed like a cab. I'm going to pull over. You keep mentioning Magic the Gathering is a video game. It's actually a trading card game, not a video game. LOL, just an FYI. I knew that. I didn't mean to refer to it as a video game. I apologize if I did. Didn't mean to offend anyone. All the Magic. Do I have a big contingency of Magic the Gathering fans? I asked that on a member show. How many of you play Magic the Gathering? Not have played, play, like actively. Not right this second, but I mean, like you could see yourself playing again in the next 3 months. I'm going to ask that. Mabi, please wish a happy birthday to my daughter, Sarah, and daughter, Charlie. What's in case it's probably Price is King. Indeed. Go Max. Happy birthday, Sarah and Charlie. It's either a strange coincidence that you were born on the same day and you're different ages, or going out on a limb. Gonna call them twins. Loved you and Julian. I joined today to listen. Oh, great. I'm gonna send him this message and say, hey, should have me back. You guys are great together. Julian's accent reminds me of home. Excellent convo. Looking forward to the next one. Keep going, Max. Increase. Oh, I'm Increase. I forgot my name's Increase. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, his accent trips me out. It really does. I don't hear that a lot around here. But man, he's such a decent guy. He's just so easy to talk to. Baron, any proof of TR, even Google campus maps? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they have. Also, the scanner said gun found near Losi. Why not near computer science building, which is closer? I don't know. I have no idea. Baron, I'm 15 days post-spinal fusion, and so happy to finally be back on live. I caught up on all your episodes, and Candace, Christ can keep me in your prayers. I will. Bar Caper Outkova? That is your real name? I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly. Happy you're back. I don't know if you're back on your feet yet, but happy you're back in action. Post-prayer check-in. My mom, who was in the hospital with her liver and kidney failure via alcoholism, is home and 25 days sober. Oh, that's wonderful news. Also, my husband works in front office for MLB team and said, you can shadow anytime. That would be awesome. Love Major League. Big fan. It's going to be public soon. Don't worry, everybody. Oh, he's checking in. Oh, no. Make him pay. No, I'm kidding. Oh, I feel so humbled that he's watching. I feel so humbled. Aloha, Baron. Thank you for all your hard work. I know you deal with a lot of pains in the body to bring truth. Thank you. Pains in the body? I mean, not a lot. Let me get around all right. Have you seen Valhalla, VFT, Elizabeth Lane's video on location of the shot? What evidence is impossible to place the shooter? Yeah, I talked about this. I talked about this last time. I disagreed with their conclusion. I think the evidence showed him. I think the video showed him in the right spot. And if you watch the rest of that episode, Trigger Smart comes in and I think settles it. I did my own blind water taste test using Ice Mountain, Goatwater, Fiji, and Saratoga. Fiji won for me. Well, everybody has their own opinion. I like Fiji just fine. I drank one yesterday. Thoughts on JD, Teal, EK, TPUSA links equal next Trojan horse. I'm a huge supporter of Joe Kent. but he seems to back JD. I don't know who to trust anymore. I think that's too big for one question. My general thoughts are that I think the technological revolution needs to be kept in check and does not need to get out of hand. And to the extent Peter Thiel may be involved in that technological revolution, I hope his friends, if they get elected, don't let their friendship take priority to us. That's my thought. I find it interesting, downright fascinating, that people trust Julian Dorey. I'm sure he's good at what he does, and it sounds like he had a great experience. But yeah, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? I mean, that seems like a little drive-by shooting. You should state your claim. If you think he's not trustworthy, tell us why. Tell us why. I find him trustworthy. Can we see the buses ushering people from Timpanogos Hospital on your satellite imagery? Thanks for keeping up the good fight, B. I looked. I saw no buses. But I don't know what time the buses came and what exact time the pictures are. I went back and watched all your shows. Can we Google trends more people now? I do it all the time. I just don't do shows on it. P.S. Heard you like Bach. Have you ever heard Switched on Bach? Love your show. No, I've never heard that. That sounds scary. That sounds terrifying, frankly. Switched on Bach? Like beaten with a switch? Insults are low IQ, indeed. I've been going through barren withdrawals from my vacay at a gorgeous crystal clear lake with sand beaches and no cell Wi-Fi. Happy to be back. This is King indeed. I'm happy to have you back, Stephanie Kennedy 5591. I was not the same without you. So glad you did, Julian. He and Sean Ryan and your humble host are my top three. Really? That's high praise indeed. Those are some big people there. Not like fat, but like big personalities. They dropped a sneak peek of you and the medical examiner in the kitchen chatting. Yeah, I just pulled it up. I didn't mean to see it. They did indeed. They did indeed. Is it Joseph Scott Morgan? If so, can't wait. This will be a truly high IQ conversation. I think so. He's a smart guy. I mean, the guy knows his stuff. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. We did not agree on everything, believe it or not. Happy Sunday, VP. Just watched Lauren the Mortician trying to debunk you. Uwe, God bless your favorite Californian. Dropping the Humboldt County. LOL, Crisis King, go Max. I watched her. I watched her show. I don't think she debunked me as much as just, had, frankly, more expertise than I have on the preparation of a body timeline. I have since learned more things about the case than I knew when I had that conversation that she clipped from, or that show that she clipped from. And so, I thought about trying to bring her in on maybe a member show and having a conversation about it, but I don't usually do that on member shows, like have conversations about the Charlie Kirk case. We usually branch out on those. And so I don't know how I'm going to handle it. But I think, honestly, maybe she needs to wait. I feel bad for her timing. Because if she waits for the Joseph Scott Morgan conversation to drop, there's a lot more information in there than she was able to evaluate. Joined Julian's Patreon to watch our humble host early and was not disappointed. Very high IQ. Excited for the conversation this week. God bless you. Oh, man. You're in for a treat. if I do say so myself. The amazing Baron. It's been too long. Lauren here, your biggest fan from Sarasota, Florida. What happens with all the information we know if Tyler's released, found not guilty? How does this end? Well, I don't know. I mean, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty and they stopped. Casey Anthony was found not guilty and they stopped. Those might be bad examples. But, it's hard for a prosecution to say we tried to put somebody to death and then now we're going a different direction and we're going to put someone else to death. I mean, it'll lose a lot of credibility. Think about the next guy they charge. They'll be like, you obviously thought someone else did it. Like, it's the ultimate defense. You've already prosecuted somebody for this. You thought they did it. Now you're saying I did it? Come on. Tough on a prosecution when you lose. Baron, you did a great job on Julian Dorey. So proud. Al Maximo. Thank you. Thank you, Rosie. Very kind of you. If TR ate at the smokehouse, wouldn't there have to be a flock camera that caught a pic of his car? I would think so. Started watching after I saw you on Candace, and I'm so grateful for your time and sacrifice. Praying for you and your family. Go Max. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I hear this video of you testing the crawl in your front yard. Go Max. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, anything that happens in my front yard is caught on camera. No doubt it exists, but we're not going to watch it. I just want to say thank you for all you do, my B. And Daisy. I simply stated, can I have one thing just to be here? May God continue to bless and watch over you, your family, and this high IQ outfit. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Thank you. And you're getting your one thing. Lauren, the Mortician YouTube channel, directly refuting your autopsy theory. She said you got it wrong, buddy. Yeah, again, I'm not going to address that anymore. If I see someone else talk about it, I'll just defer because this is the last time I'm going to explain it. That was my first run at the autopsy timeline. If you watch my conversation with Joseph Scott Morgan, it's going to be far more in-depth with way more detail. And it will establish a lot of things that just were not discussed in that previous video. Awesome episode with you and Julian. So glad you went in person. Very high IQ. Bravo. Christ is King indeed. I don't think he interviews people not in person, does he? I don't think he does. Reporting you and the principal gets you shadow banned on X. They hide posts and make your profile non-searchable. But, hold on. What did we hit? But they still charge you. First, it's crazy censorship. Second, it's fraud. Go Max. What makes you think that? Now, I always hear people saying they're shadow banned, but I mean, to me, before you can make a claim, you got to have some sort of evidence. Baron, love your show. Did you notice that the security crew all had the same style of shoes? There's a special electrical shoe I think they had on. We've looked at that several times. They all had some shoe with some sort of white bottom, but they are different brands of shoes. Baron, did you catch Candace suggesting you reach out to George for an interview? I did. And I will. Might want to lock that in before Baby 5. What was the OG hoodie color for tonight? Asking for a friend. It was dark gray. And it got goat watered. And I didn't want to do a whole show with water drops going all down my chest. You know, I tell people I used to have a drinking problem. Apparently, I still do. Even drinking water is a problem. But yeah, it was dark gray, and it got toasted like 1 minute before I hit the live button. Baron just wanted to send love from Lake Charles, Louisiana. My husband and I are also Catholic. Well, I've been my whole life. He's starting his classes to convert. I'm also 52 days sober. Christ is King indeed. You guys sound like you're getting your whole life in order. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That's a wonderful story. I can't thank you enough for all your hard work and dedication. This whole case has unfortunately confirmed all my fears. Christ is King always. Prayers for protection and peace for you and the fam. Thank you. I appreciate it. Baron, congrats on your amazing interview with Julian Dorey. He's amazing. Double high Q for all. Thank you. Yeah, I've not met too many people that don't I think very highly of him. You know, I called around to a lot of people, as I've done with other invites I've had, saying, you know, what do you think about doing this show? Not that I don't make my own decisions, but I like information. More information is better than less information. Every single person I talk to, in the podcasting realm, just people who view a lot of podcasts, every single one of them said, man, he's great. Like, how can you turn that down? Not that I would turn it down, but, you know, I can't know everything there is to know about somebody. And when you agree to go on someone's show, you know, you're kind of committing to their brand. And I just wanted to hear what other people thought. My initial inclination was I was extremely flattered to be asked and definitely wanted to do it, but, you know, do my homework. Heck of a chat you had with Julian B. Watch it this afternoon. The sacrifice you made of making the RBP your full-time job is not lost on us. God is using you in so many ways, B. Thank you for all you do. Christ is indeed. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to have to watch it tonight. I was going to wait. I was actually just going to like scope, which is just watch little segments of it just to see how it looked and all that. But I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to go watch it. Baron, at least you didn't adjust yourself on camera. What does that mean? Adjust myself? You mean this number? I did it. They probably just cut it out. He's got a producer there full time. He's in real time hitting the switchers. He probably saw me do this and was like, get off camera too. Get over to camera 3. Get over to camera 4. He's got like 9 cameras in there. That's crazy. Crazy. I told my dad I think it was an exploding mic, showed him the evidence, and he said my generation is watching crazy stuff. And I'm blanked up. Shaking my head. Well, at least he wears his heart on his sleeve, right? He doesn't hide things from you. Hi, Brandon. It's so frustrating that for everyone with common sense, there are equally as many people who believe all the sloppy slop. Respectfully, Christ is king indeed. And one of the problems with being high IQ is that's a minority position. By definition. It's a bell curve, guys. You've got a few people over here that are just borderline functional. You got a few people over here who are in rare error, like, top of the chain. Then you have in the middle, you have a whole bunch of people who are just pretty average. But when you're high IQ, even average people feel kind of hard to talk to. Hi, B. Interesting summary of COVID last episode. In August 2019, my now husband was incredibly sick. We're based in Brisbane, Australia. We always joke that he might have been patient 0. Maybe not. No, I'm sure he had that flu. That flu was going around the world and crushing people. Deleted X account. Too toxic. Feels gross when I'm on it. Down to YouTube, Spotify, and 1 subscription. Your humble host. Thank you. Truth is the only way through this. Christ is king indeed. Thank you, Shell Bell. Very kind of you. Maybe you can do an opening on the great Carey Mullis. Seems like he died in the midst of that bird flu you mentioned. Conveniently so. Fauci's nemesis. I actually knew Carey Mullis. I talked to Carey Mullis about HIV several times. About his invention of PCR. I didn't know him like a buddy. We weren't like pals, but we talked. A brilliant human being. Very cynical human being. I think there's a level of cynicism that comes with a brilliance of his capacity. The guy, some people, they say they receive knowledge rather than invent something. Like Tesla used to say he received his knowledge, like it was coming from somewhere else and being poured into his brain. The Carey Mullis' story about inventing PCR is very much like that. Like he's driving through the desert on his way to Las Vegas or Los Angeles. I can't remember where he was headed. Going one way to the other on that road. And he basically received PCR and pulled over on the side of the road and like wrote it down on a napkin or something, back of an envelope. And then it worked. Wild. Maybe I will do it.
I'm about to hop off. I wanted to let everyone know that I now have a functioning AC.
Oh,
and I'd like to.
She's ice cold, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to thank everyone for their support. I'm going to go bask in the glory of that.
Sit in front of the register.
Yeah, I'll be cooling off here very shortly. So
yeah. Make a little pallet right next to the register and put like a piece of paper up so it all blows right on you.
Yeah. Nobody else needs it, just me.
Yeah. Hide it. All right. Yeah, her air's been out, and it's been like 120 degrees where she lives. Terrible story. Terrible time. Hi, King B. Yes, Baron has legs. 3 I've heard. Oh, whoa. You can't say that. Sweet B. Hubby sober 55 days. So proud of him. I've watched all your episodes since Candace introduced you to me, but for the love of bleep, I can't remember who mic'd Charlie Kirk. Please help. Philip Goldsberry Jr. is his name. Philip Goldsberry Jr. Tina Maples. When you have your Rode mic on, does it pull down? A little. I'm gonna have to find that magnet. When I was demonstrating it, it flopped off. But yeah, a little, not like all the way down, but you can feel it there for sure. Thanks for the info. I thought a whoopee was the tear-stained Teddy Blake Neff cuddles while crying himself to sleep. It might be. There might be more than one version. RFK Jr. ran the last election as an independent. They keep him off debate stages, and he joined Trump and dropped his campaign. I voted Trump for Maha. Okay. Duly noted. Baron, I worked on Ross Perot's campaign. My boss at the time, a 70-year-old Jewish gentleman, encouraged me to join him in promoting Perot. That was my intro to politics. I really didn't think too much about it before that. What a time to be alive. Ross Perot ran a legendary campaign. This is a ball from the Ross Perot campaign. A little styrofoam ball. That was Cohen Films. Cohen Films. One of our listeners sent me that. Yeah. Excited for the interview this week. Thanks for the continued coverage of this investigation. Can I get a special shout out to my wife, Christina, mother of 4, pregnant with our 5th? The Prego! Christ is king indeed. I'm feeling like this, frankly, is George Farmer writing in, talking about Candace. Mom of 4, pregnant with our 5th. The Prego. I'm gonna play along and act like it's Christina. Shout out, Christina. Your secret's safe with me, George. I'm confident. You willing to talk to JSM and praise him? And I agree that he's great. The Fed slappers would never admit the other side has anything positive. Go King B. That's because they're dishonest. I don't have anything else to say about it. Tucker and Candace ballot, that would be a good ballot. Hey, Baron, I'm all for third party, but even if we do end up with a viable option, won't the Dems and reps be able to rig everything in their favor? The uniparty system is undefeated. Well, there's that. That's a black-pilled cynicism that not everybody shares, but there is that. In relation to the transfer of patients from Timpanogos to University Hospital, they must have then informed the paramedics to route only to University Hospital. You imagine the number of people with knowledge of these events. Okay. I like your show. I like your comment, Skate Betty. I refuse to believe in any politician ever again. I don't give a bleep who they run. I expect more of the same. We're an occupied nation and we deserve the fall. Wow. I mean, it's hard to argue with that, but wow. They're not working on running for office in this system. Hopefully, they're working on organizing large-scale dissent and civil disobedience. Okay. Tina Maple, please explain that your city, county, state elections are just as important as the presidential. If people looked at their state as their government, change would happen quicker. The problem is the same uniparty slop exists at the state level. That's the problem. The system exists to perpetuate the system. And it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's true. Been a long time since I was able to catch a live. Usually listen to you the next day at work. Number 1 fan from Huntington, Indiana. Where's Huntington? Is it Ton or Dunn? Huntington, Indiana. Oh, not Huntington Ingalls. Huntington, Indiana. Oh, Huntington is... Oh, it's way up there. By Fort Wayne. That's way up there. Thanks for catching it. Hi, Mr. B. I'm worried this is like Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Prosecution gave defense compressed low-resolution video and hid high-resolution video that would have helped Kyle Rittenhouse until trial closed. Jury ruled not guilty, so this was largely unnoticed. I did not know that happened. That's how unnoticed it was. Best way to weaken the government is by relying on them less. Grow your own food, start small, and control your own communities. That's against them. Yeah, I had a good conversation with somebody the other day about ways to get off the system without too fundamental. You know, if you tell someone to grow their own food, a lot of people are going to check out. Yeah. But if you give them something small that they can do, and then once they get that thing under their belt, then give them something else small to do. And they start stacking up those little small victories against the system. I think that's how you effectuate large-scale change. Like, just get a community of people and say, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Whatever this is, we're going to do this. You could affect some change. If Tucker, Joe, Thomas, and MTG start a third party, we're all in. It would be tough to be opposed to it. Looks like General Flynn has just joined the Massie coalition. If you watch their speeches in Iowa today, it definitely sounds like they're serious. Duly noted. Cannot appreciate you more, Baron. Well, I can't appreciate you more. Question everything. 3, 2, 1. Sounds like there should be a liftoff or something at the end of that. Thank you for the big picture perspectives. People comment in 3 to 4 hours. That 3 to 4 hours is a time challenge, but to me, it's time well spent. Number 1 from Grays Lake, Illinois. Thank you, Daisy Crisis King. Indeed, indeed. I can't believe you were in Jersey and didn't tell me. Oh, Adriana, I didn't even tell my mom. I would have driven down 2 hours to take you and Julian out to lunch. Just started following him. Looking forward to seeing the podcast. If I ever go back, I'll let you know. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody. I told really one person outside of my immediate home. I told Nurse Casey. I don't think Daisy knew I went. I didn't tell anybody. That was a get there and get back before we talk about it. Secret's out. Baron, our humble host, has legs. Kristen, I do have legs. That answers the question for Owen Benjamin. Oh, you know what? I need to do that. Hold, please. I got to put up a tweet. Because Owen Benjamin said he thought I might have octopus legs. Now I'm going to prove that I don't have octopus legs. Watch this. Quote, here is proof to Owen Benjamin that I don't have octopus legs. There we go. Done. That's funny. With combining military with, do you think they will try to take away our guns? With combining military with what? I don't even know what that means. I wish I did, Ames. I'm starting to hear rumblings everywhere, people saying that we need to organize and take our country back. You all have my attention. It's time to stand up for something before we don't have any rights left. It's time. Thank you for spending precious time away from your family to collab with JD. His integrity and content is top notch. Two truly high class outfits coming together is a blessing for all. Here's how accommodating he is. He wanted to do 2 long shows. He was able to arrange his schedule so that I would fly out on Friday morning and fly back Saturday night. Like, that's dedication there. And keep in mind, he recorded his show, his normal show, after our show. That's dedication. It would have been real easy for him to say, I can't do that. Can you come in on Thursday? I got to do my show Friday. Then I'll do your second show Saturday. But he didn't do that. He rearranged his schedule. It's a very accommodating guy. So happy to be celebrating my birthday this evening with Baron and the jury. Happy birthday, Grady D. I'm 4 months older than you be. I also can't wait to see you and Joseph Scott Morgan. It's going to be a great conversation. I think so. I'm very excited for that to come out. Sorry, I just read that. 2 things. Look up video Battle Bun Ready. I've seen it. Jakey Candace is a Lego, also Diligent Denizen, talking to a woman who was there after. I've seen that as well. Thank you. Bringing my husband of 21 years home on hospice tomorrow. Grateful for this community to help get through these hard times. Gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I will say I've seen 2 patients up close and personal on hospice over the last couple of years. And in both instances, I was thankful for the help. Both. They did a good job. I'm sorry to hear about that, though. Baron, I'm 63 and I refuse to be lied to again. So discouraged. I can't place blame, be in, or any other. My government turned on us in America. I love my country and won't vote again for her fall. I've heard people say that they're just so sick of it, they're done. Heard a 911 call of everyone ran to the parking lots, but no videos of that. So strange, especially when see people scrolling by a shooter. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell in a 911 situation, emergency, people running everywhere, what people say. Just came in from watching first Patreon episode with Julian. It was great. I feel like I learned even more about you from that episode. Keep going, Max. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Why are so many people looking for stuff on the ground? I think because they assumed there was a gunshot and they thought it might have come from up close. To me, if I'm the defense, that's evidence that it didn't go from the Losi Center. It looks like they're simply cleaning up after an assembly. Everyone's just milling around, no urgency, not like anything horrific just happened. Correct. OMG, you're the best. Y'all hit that like for our Baron. Oh, thank you. You're the best, Dorinda. I'm only the second best. Hey, my B, super fan and first super chat, Dan Bongina. Also said an interview the first few days the FBI arrived in 16 minutes. Thanks for everything. God bless you and all who see this. Go Max. Indeed. Thank you. There should be 50 cops and detectives there at that point, yet nothing. I know. That was my point. But bear on my beautiful t-shirt a couple days ago. Got my beautiful t-shirt a couple days ago. So proud to show off that I'm part of the High Q outfit. The number one fan from Ithaca, Michigan. Ithaca, Michigan. It's Neffed up at crime scene, IMO. We need Mikey. AB just had to share homily from today. Father talked about first part of gospel. Jesus showed humanity when John the Baptist died. He did what normal human would do, disappear to mourn and pray for his beloved friend. Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Normal person. Also, I fully believe that he took the SD card so that no one would see what Charlie's security was really doing after the bang. Well, not doing. That could be any number of reasons. And we don't know that he only took the SD card. Can't hardly stomach watching the crime scene videos. How in the world could these people that loved him walk through there right after? Yeah, move the chair. Looking forward to listening to the show later. Right now, I'm waiting to be a grandma. Prayers for our daughter, Alyssa, and granddaughter, Miss Everly May. Christ is King indeed. Linda Bell, congratulations. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. No, I'm not a grandma. I'm a granddad. Concerning Chief of Police, looks like he may have been attempting to use the mic to make some sort of announcement. Oh. Well, maybe just yell. Cup your hands. Don't grab evidence. Finally did a show about this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know how anyone thinks there is nothing wrong with this. No, there's something wrong with it. Didn't know who Charlie was on 910. Searched and Insta brought up a video posted that morning recorded by EK of CK together at UVU, removed later that day. I don't believe that. I don't know what you saw, but I don't believe she was there. Hi, Baron. It's almost like they wanted the crime scene contaminated. I sure hope the defense questions the police regarding their negligence. Oh, I would hope so. I imagine you'll see that. B, please look on top of White Hall of Flags building at CK. Approximately a clock. A figure is there until after bang. Watch 60X. Please look at this. Someone was up there. Looked like event. Disappeared after bang. I think I know what you're talking about. You didn't include a time with your o'clock there, but I think I know what you're talking about. But that's not the Hall of Flag building. The Sorensen was to his left, and there was another building to his right that were white. The Hall of Flags is behind him, and that's not consistent with what you were describing. They were negligent because they didn't believe they were ever going to court. They were unalive. Robinson. Yeah. That's kind of my point. Baron, you are the prince of podcasts. Seriously, nobody else can touch this show. Pure fire, sir. Keep up the phenomenal work. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind. Very kind. Wow, look at this. Robbie Yeatman. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Very kind. Prior to moment, BH addressed small item for quick access, then holds fingers like he's preparing. And Sean Ryan, Brian Harpole, says, I shoved my hand into the hole. 5 seconds, I had my hands in him. I've seen guys stick things into kids. If fragment is from what report says, could this explain a lot? Yeah, it could. Thank you for that. Could the camera be the weapon? Well, I don't know about the weapon, but you know, if we don't know the cause, if we don't know the how, I think the camera has to be considered as potentially part of it. Considered. I'm not saying we make a declaration, but it's considered. And we can't consider it because he took it down and took things away from it. So we have no idea what was on that camera. It's a Temu crime scene. We need Mikey to flip. Mikey. Is it me? Is cop in blue shirt guarding Terryl Farnsworth? Just saying. That kind of looked like it, didn't it? A day to remember. This was the moment Baron ignited the third-party engine and amplified its reach and influence like oil in a well-tuned machine. You are so talented, it's unreal. Ed from Amsterdam. Well, thank you, Ed from Amsterdam. Move to America, become a citizen. You can vote with us. Thank you. Baron, my grandbaby's here. She's amazing. Well, that didn't take long. Oh, no, you're a different person. I was like, wow, you were waiting for like 4 minutes. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. I'm sure she is amazing. Audio equipment has been removed from scene within minutes. How did they do that so quickly? No one knows where shooter even is, but hey, let's pack it up. Yes, correct. That's the problem. Karen Reed, Desert Edition. Yeah, possibly. In regards to the crime scene, it's as if they were given orders ahead of time what to not do. Oh. Yeah, maybe. Keystone Cops, disgraceful. Why is Farnsworth so calm? So guilty. Oh, wow, I don't want to declare him guilty. That's your opinion. Mikey was the only one with actual emotion. AK was spot on when he said they're processing their guilt. Well, he's going to claim that was a slip of the tongue. 3 minutes after shot, but there are people who decide to stick around with baby and baby carrier, not knowing if the area is safe. Seems odd. Are we sure there's even a baby in there? The old baby trick, hidden baby trick. Yeah, maybe. The backpack is at the quick quack. Perhaps. What do you think the odds are of them offering Zen a deal to give that information he has, or what involvement? 0% ever? Never? I'm surprised so many people were hanging around after an active shooter event on a college campus. No run, hide, fight at UVU. No, people just milling about right in the line of fire. CK case is what made me lose respect for JSM. I used to love him and express the level of disappointment I felt after seeing him in Julian Dorey. I hope you'll give him another chance later this week, because I think you'll see him in a different light. American Comeback Tour banners are covered in lightning bolt picks. Was it the Electrocution Tour? Could be. Sound system was off by time cop checked Mike. Who turned it off? Exploding Mike blew the sound system. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Who turned it off? This is why we do Q&A. This is a really good question. Looking forward to your conversation with Julian Dorey and guest. Out of the tragedy of CK emerged the silver lining of brilliant minds, yourself included. May your guardian angels continue to protect you and your family. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, Baron, this is my first super. Hopefully you read this on your show. My sister watches, and I just wanted to give her a shout out. Her name is Jade. Hey, Jade. Thanks for the super. Did they just sit in the car on some random road for 25 minutes? Oh, I see where you went there. I see what you did. He doesn't know where he went. They had 50 minutes to get their story straight. Or debrief, perhaps. I don't know. Just guessing. Mikey was not covered in blood, as Dad said. That's correct. They took the SUV to Quick Quack. They could have. I didn't think about that. They had time to get there. I noticed a lightning strike on the UVU tent. Tried to find this on past tents, but didn't see it. Quite the coincidence if electrocution was involved. It was on a few tents before. Maybe 4 or 5, I'm guessing. Just a ballpark figure. What about the person who alleged that Mikey showed up at the physician entrance and picked someone up? Were they there earlier than 50 minutes, but in the parking lot waiting for everyone to arrive? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. There's something to contend with. State cannot or has not ruled out that those closest to Charlie didn't hire someone to kill him, including TR. Mountain of unknowns and reasonable doubt. Keep questioning everything except Christ is King. Well, yeah, they haven't ruled out anything that I'm aware of. Irrepressible Baron. Christ is King indeed. In February 2020, I went to the doc with flu symptoms, but tested negative for flu. Doc was baffled. Since the blood sample to CDC, thought it was early COVID, but I got COVID later that year. I bet I know what you had. FBI 4 miles away from UVU. 88 West, 100 North. Number 200 Provo. Let's look it up. 88 West, 100 North, Provo, Utah. Do you see what I see? Federal building. Oh, interesting. It's a pretty building. UVU's pretty. I mean, Utah's pretty. What's in there? Social Security Administration's in there. Let's see what else is in here. I don't see the FBI in there. I see Social Security in there. Let's look at with FBI. Maybe that'll tell us. Federal Bureau of Investigation, located in the vibrant city of Provo, Utah. Vibrant. Fascinating. There's no quivering lip from Mikey. No, he doesn't quiver for long. It's a short-term quiver. Loved your episode with Julian. Y'all were great together, and it was nice to learn more about you. Oh, thank you. I got to go back and watch it. What the hell did I say about myself? What did I say? Utah attorney spoke about something called a motion to quash. Could you explain what that means in regard to Tyler Robinson probable cause trial? Yeah, quash just means you're trying to extinguish something. You're trying to stop something. So they would be filing a motion to stop something. Shout out to my husband and daughter for letting me watch Bubba Baron all day between the Julian Dorey episode and this live. It was church in the morning, then Baron since then. You've got the greatest husband and daughter of all time. I mean, outside of this house. But they sound amazing. Too nonchalant for my comfort. Sad all around. Agreed. If the Mauser don't fit the trousers. Is that a Mauser in your trouser? I'm going to start asking everybody, you got a Mauser in your trouser? Why are they trousers, plural? You just have one trouser. Trouser, singular. The word trousers is a plural only noun. Does not have a standard singular form for a single item. To refer to a single item, you use a pair of trousers. Well, that's foolishness because there's only one trouser. I'm not wearing two trousers. I'm not wearing a pair. I only have on one trouser. I'm going to coin it. Is there a Mauser in your trouser? Hey, Baron, grateful for your amazing work and commitment to truth. Everyone involved seems prepared for this occasion as if they're on a mission. Jesus loves you. Yes, we're on a mission. Wishing. Do you think Long picked up and checked the mic because he was worried about their team tag up there that could have been recorded? Maybe. Look closely. The item beside the bloody shirt in the SUV. That is an Inseego MiFi router. Explains Harpool's dropping his phone BS and needing to use someone else's in the ER. Secures the Shapiro call and everything else. I don't recall seeing that. Inseego MiFi router. I didn't see one of those. I don't know if that's accurate. I have to look that up. Thank you. Some of you said people higher up know what's going on and have given hope those responsible won't get away with it. Is this still true? I have faith the system will work in Charlie's favor, but it's scary. Christ is king indeed. I don't know about that. Maybe the microphone is in that clear case because it's a trophy they can all use to remember their crime. Maybe. Your magnet is with the soil they dug up. I hope not. It's supposed to be in here somewhere. I don't know where it went, but I'll find it. It's not messy in here. Just a lot of stuff. That's different. Have you ever considered a high rocks race? Doing my second soon. Thankful for your wisdom. Stay home, mom, after getting my MSN needing mental stimulation tips. I've never considered doing one because I don't want to do 100 wild balls at the end of a workout. No, I've never considered one. I know what they are. I hate running. And, I don't know if you know this. I catastrophically injured my ankle a few years ago. I can still run, but like if I run a 5K, it hurts. It's very painful, and it's painful for days afterwards. And High Rocks is 8K. So it would be a commitment that I'd have to be willing to hurt doing it and hurt for days afterwards. Other than that, it doesn't seem bad. I don't understand High Rocks. The thing I like about CrossFit is that it's constantly varied functional movement executed at high intensity. High Rocks is not constantly varied at all. It's just running in the same 8 movements. So, maybe one day. It's a long time domain for me. Hour plus. I don't usually work out for an hour plus. Okay, to be fair, if the shooter has not been apprehended yet, hospitals can be locked down. I worked at ACA facility, and I'm sure it's protocol. Almost sure it's protocol. I believe you. Big head Baron had to do it. Big head? I don't have a tiny mutant pea head. Thanks for all you do. Love the fam in here too. Such a great high IQ outfit. Thank you. Baron, what are the best points to start with when talking to someone who is open-minded but hasn't been paying attention? How would you plant a healthy seed of doubt without overwhelming them with all the weird case details? I would ask them why. I would start with, why do you believe what you believe? And then if they say, because the government tells me that X, Y, and Z happened, I would say, well, did Lee Harvey Oswald shoot JFK? Because most people don't believe that. There are a few out there, but most people don't believe that. And that, I think, opens the door to the fact that there potentially can be cover-ups involving lots of people to frame an innocent patsy. And once you get there, once we get agreement that it's at least possible, now let's look at things like, does that wound look right to you? Why did his shirt move that way? Do you see a gun anywhere? How do you know there was a gun up there? Why isn't his DNA all over the roof? Why isn't it in the sweat drop that was at the ledge where the guy jumped off? Why were those not his fingerprints? Why couldn't they get fingerprints in the stairwell? Why were his fingerprints the most degraded on the firearm? Just start chipping away little by little. Get agreement. You could admit that it would be weird that his DNA wouldn't be in that sweat drop, right? I don't know. Hi from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Thanks for all that you do. Hi from Middle Tennessee. Thanks for all you do. The F girl saying we are effed on live stream makes me think they were in on fake, and she later learned that he actually died. CK knew as well. IMO. Okay. It's a theory. My B, can you zoom in on Officer Bagley to see if he's wearing a body camera? No, I can't get that close to him. Dear sir, Edge. Missed you. Business dinner. We'll catch up. Have questions? Stu says, inmates being transferred to TR jail at concerning rate. True or false? Prayers continue. 2 and 3 to follow between courses. I don't know. I've not heard Stu say that, and I've not seen any evidence of that. Be happy to look into it. That's all I know. Baron, who designed the American Comeback Tour sign on Charlie Kirk's tent, looks like an electrical charge. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Do I think Elon would join Tucker and others? I doubt it. But we don't know. And keep in mind, he's a massive government contractor. But Baron, in the event of a ritual, any central items used can be a powerful souvenir that can be used in the future for future energy they carry. E.g., Bloody Mike at Amfest was part of the ritual. IMO, love you, my B. That's terrifying. Great talk with Julian. Looking forward to part 2. Regarding 4 of 7 bullet fragments discussed in preliminary hearing, could the same type of frags be recovered due to modalities rather than gunshot wounds? Yeah, they could be stuffed in his neck. That's how they could be recovered. McCoy and company were cool as cucumbers at the hospital. Cooler than the other side of the pillow, said the late Stuart Scott. Maybe Mikey's immediate phone call was to Ben Shapiro. Maybe 3-weight in. Do you honestly think we'll ever get justice if the people on top are controlling this? I don't know. All we can do is try. Ask what transferee even knows what a fax is. Thank you, Professor Baron, Daisy, and crew for all you do. I've not missed a show since I first saw you on Candace. Proud to be a high IQ member of the grand jury. Got me some merch on the way. Oh, thank you. Can someone finish looking into the decoy witnesses? Who says Charlie was shot in the chest? Candace said they had bizarre family history. Maybe. Gasp. With handheld mic caught and amplified sound of exploding road mic. Feedback caused the electrocution, thus blowing the sound system. I don't know that sound works that way, but who am I to say? But Baron, can we write them in our ballet? We can create a massive movement without them spending money. Write them in on our ballet? I don't even know what that means. Oh, ballot. Can we write them in on our ballot? Create a massive movement without them? Yeah, but write-ins are tough races. You want to be on the ballot. Baron, I work in medical records at a hospital in Baltimore, and records are still faxed. Love you, my B. Stop doing hammer time dance to watch this. When are medical records going to get out of the Stone Ages? That's crazy. The amount you hate on Magic the Gathering hurts my feelings. It's really fun, and normal high IQ people play it too, not just murderers and lowlifes. Oh, I'm sorry. I just don't know anyone that plays it, so it's an easy target. I won't do it anymore, Sauls. I won't do it anymore. That got me in here, brother. Got me right in here. Wasn't Nancy Guthrie ransom note faxed to TMZ? Allegedly. Maybe wrong. Weird it came after Savannah interview and push for justice for JE victims. My humble opinion. Yeah, it's weird. Did they ever find her, by the way? Savannah Guthrie's mom? Did they ever find her? Nope. Pleads for answers about missing mom in a new post 2 days ago. Weird. I've always been a fan of the whodunits, so I fail to believe with this many ops, why would so many people oppose investigators? Love you. Christ is king indeed. Fail to believe with this many ops, why would so many people oppose investigators? I don't know that I know what that means, but okay. Hoping you've hired security. Praying for you. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a terrifying thought. Can you clarify if TR has pled not guilty? We would be in a new preliminary if no plea had been entered yet. Thank you for clarifying. Christ is king indeed. He has not entered a plea because he has not been bound over to trial. So there's not even been a probable cause determination. Daisy has a hot voice. I'll let her know. People have told her that on the member show. I held my breath for a second when Baron put that road mic on. Careful, brother. Oh, goodness gracious. Get it away. I hope it's safe. Do you think the flash that we see in Candace's video on the roof could be the sun hitting the shooter's watch? No, I'm starting to believe the people who say it's a car in the background on that highway because they track that flash from other locations and then it shows up right behind the shooter. But I'm open to anything. One of the reasons you're my favorite podcaster is you don't take money from talent agencies. Julian Dorey is represented by WME. Your high IQ knows why this is bad. Christ is king indeed. Some people don't want to deal with he does ads. Some people don't want to deal with the ads. Like they want someone else to deal with all the paperwork and the collections and all that. I don't hold that against. TR was first to table, in my humble opinion. Thank you. Okay. Noted. Internal hospital records. Incident report of lockdown and threats. I'm curious about timing on documentation. Measurable evidence says it's not tie-tie. Okay. Duly noted. Please make a t-shirt that says for under $10, you don't have to be stupid. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Yeah, I said that. My B, the door of this pod. As someone in the medical field, we fax things all the time. It is just through emails these days. Christ is king indeed. Well, someone else said they still use the old fax machine. Like it's Fred Flintstone out there. If the shooter was in line with Charlie Kirk, you wouldn't see that steeple on the Mormon temple in the distance. It should be at 10 o'clock if he's lined up with Charlie Kirk. Saw it on Valhalla and confirmed on Google Earth. Yeah, but there's two Mormon steeples. And what you're seeing is the smaller of them. There's a large one way off to the left, and there's a smaller one that would be in that position. I think he's in the right spot. We've looked at that. I think he's in the right spot. Trying something new. Real-time kill stream to OGA. Oh yeah. That would be new. My husband said, if you don't believe the feds lied, compare the video they released to Candace Owens. They intentionally sent out pixelated footage. Why? Yeah, it's a good call. They intentionally downgraded, I think. It looks like they intentionally downgraded the quality of the imagery. I don't know if that's true, but it's what it looks like. Professor got with you because he wanted to rehabilitate his image after the backlash of his biased views, and he looked amateur. He used your name to float. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I've been used for far less. There's a Provo FBI field office 10 to 12 minutes out from UVU. I saw someone else try to school Candace, but double checked it. And FBI's in Provo. Okay, fair enough. Duly noted. Poso says in one of his vids that he could not see what went on when TR jumped over the short wall, but it is presumed he put the rifle together. So even the POS agent walked that back lamely. Yeah, lame indeed. Was TR tested for gunshot residue? I don't know. They didn't introduce any. I walked into a SWAT exercise at Mountain View Hospital in Utah. I was startled by all the men with long guns surrounding the hospital and parking lot. I was told not to worry. It was just a mock emergency. I would still worry. Utah Valley Hospital has gunshots right now. I don't see any evidence of that. I don't see any evidence of that. Maybe you're talking about something else. You spoke in the present tense. I feel like I might need a seatbelt this week. Oh, you're going to need one. Could get bumpy. I'd be running into ER if my friend Rob McCoy stated Mikey was covered in blood, but he walked away, not interact with CK. Clothes don't appear blood covered. Clothes as stroll in ER. Keep going. Max Christ is king indeed. Rob McCoy has explained his misstatement on it. He said he assumed because everyone else said they were. Take it for what it's worth. Why not run behind building's top floor? Got to be seen. I don't know why he didn't run down the stairs. Why risk injuring yourself jumping off a roof? This is my shot, and I'm going to take it. Heard that before. Yeah, that's the point. Daisy came back on just for me. Yes, Wilson. Yes, Wilson. Just for you. Could Charlie have been on a timber platform to stop electricity passing through the ground into the people around him? Is that a thing? I don't know. It didn't look timber to me. It looked plastic and metal. Baron saludos de Sere Paraguay. No, it's not Uruguay. I believe you. But it's down there next to each other. And they're commonly confused. And the Bushes bought a bunch of land in one of them, and I don't know which one. But thank you. Thank you for checking in. 180 seconds later, not one person standing in shock or emotional. Everyone is just chill, certain of safety suddenly. Christ is king indeed. Yeah. They're just milling about like it's normal Wednesday on UVU's campus. What day doesn't this happen? Love you, my B and Daisy. Stay safe. We all need you. I'm doing my best here. When someone says they fax it to me, I say, we don't have fax where I live. And they say, where do you live? And I say, in 2026, Barb. I live in 2026. That's funny. I'm stealing that. I live in 2026, Barb. I'm calling everyone Barb from now on. Barb. Your interview is available on Patreon and members only on YouTube. Duly noted. Have you seen the podcast where Charlie Kirk's cameraman speaks out? Thoughts? Christ is king indeed. I've seen some. I have. Okay, you asked my thoughts. I've actually talked to him on the phone as well, so I'm going to be kind. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's bringing to the table. I'm not saying he's not. But I'm a undersell, over deliver kind of guy. And I feel like we're different in that respect. Happy it was Dr. Morgan with you on Julian, Dorey, Baron. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product. You're an awesome man. I'm a 1969 baby, and Fed Slop's my favorite slang term yet. And the DOJ should be DOCU, Department of Cover-Ups. I've yet to see true justice. It's been a while. I believe the ones responsible for this unaliving will be revealed. And please quit saying our greatest ally. I cringe every time people say that. Thank you for all your hard work. Good job. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, well, we say it sarcastically or ironically. Representing Indiana well, sir. Another great show. Thank you. I do my best out here. I hate that the whole state is riding on my shoulder. I haven't lived there in a long time. Baron. Christ is king indeed. All dynasties have unsaid codes. Is giving back money, purse strings, gifts. Brian Harpole said our cut wore the brand. Could it be CK went outside all the dynasty brand codes he was exposed to? I don't know. What she said, 72, post July 21, God's time. Casing caught my attention. Jolt theory expanded. Worthy of consideration. We love you, my B, go Max. I've actually cited that on here. I think highly of her theory. I'm considering it. What about the hats that were stolen at the entrance? Could one of those be tracked down and tested? Yeah. So longtime listeners will know we did a couple shows on that where we were trying to find one. Stu Peters has mentioned VP's chief of staff, that he's also been at Fort Huachuca and other shady samplites. Yeah. I mean, I'm open to seeing the evidence of it. Jen Falmina was also wandering around in your video. She was wearing the blue shirt and pink hat under the concrete breezeway. Is that Jen Falmina? Hopefully. Where's my phone? I've got to send a text. I have to send a text. Could that be Falmina in the pink? You said it so confidently. Hey, Baron, listener for a while. First time for chat. I love Julian. I cannot wait for the episode. Much love. Much love to you, Nightmare. Thanks for joining the crowd. Storyfold news, but a staff member had yellow caution tape in his hand right after the bang. Makes you wonder, why did he have it? I have a pic. Well, so after they arrived, they put that yellow caution tape to establish a perimeter behind the tent, behind the cars that were behind the tent. It was possible he just ran and grabbed that. Tyler may have followed Lance to Provo that day to see where Lance was taking the rifle. Merch idea. Shirt that says, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I wish I knew it. Oh, I know what that means. I know it. Jules, jamming. When I moved my son out of New York City at 9, our neighbor said hello, as did I. Son says, Ma, why are you talking to strangers? Berryville in Northern Virginia, not very far from Zach Costello. I don't know where he lives. I know he's in Virginia somewhere. This can bring down the entire administration. It could bring down entire governments depending on what happened. Everyone should go watch the last episode by Blackline Brief. Matt T. As a Catholic, it blew my mind regarding the case. Duly noted. Thank you. Have Aaron tell us about traveling with security. Watch Julian, really good interview. Oh, gosh, I'm not going to talk about that. Hey, B, when will you be providing an update on your necklace theory? Suspense. Christ is king indeed. I don't know. I want to say next week or two, but I honestly don't know. Someone should look into Timpanogos Regional Hospital financials. Did they get a large recent donation or new addition? Might be interesting. Oh, I don't know. Hi, B, could the principal legally request to be designated as... no, we've covered this many times. No, absolutely not. Big fan from the orthopedic capital of the world. Love you in the show. Orthopedic capital of the world. You in Delray Beach, Florida? I think they do a lot of hip replacements there. Love Daisy's contribution or her skills from a legal background. OSINT or something else. No, they're not legal. Just a curious mind. Grew up and graduated 99 from Mount Juliet, south Louisiana now. North, south Louisiana, in the middle. Question. Who were the guys right after that were walking with crime tape in hand? Yeah, I guess that's his security team. I don't know. Mount Juliet's great, by the way. Wilson County's beautiful over there. That's Wilson County, isn't it? A great area. Great area. Great people live over there. Spent a lot of time over there as a kid. Ball games and such. Vice president. Okay, I'll allow it. Yeah, I'll be vice president. I'll allow it too. Notice the only podcasters who speak negatively about trans issue are in danger. Are the only ones who also question our greatest ally. AK and Blake Neff all blast trans, yet no death threats. Left my last one blank. Oh, that's a good point. It's a good point you point out. B, there's a paper trail with every fax and email. Paper trail with every email, too. Candace was Charlie's David. You are hers, and we, the jury, are yours. Safe prayers for you both. Oh, goodness gracious. That's very kind. Thank you. Weird that TR texts say almost the exact same words as MK threats, almost as if they were written by the same person. Ordered a bull butter hat. Excited to get it. Thank you, B and D. Love you both. Well, it could also be somebody just playing a trick on Megyn Kelly and trying to put a little fear in her by using the exact same words that were leaked out of those text messages. I'm curious if the text messages were public first, but I think they were, because I think the thing that drew their alarm was that they were the same language. Would be worth checking out the aerial maps you had that were a little before the Big Bang, see if they show shuttles at the hospitals. I looked, I saw none. What was Butch Hibbs' role or presence during the Charlie Kirk event? Oh, gosh, I wish I knew that. Officially, according to his brother, just hanging out. I don't know, just hanging around. Hey, B. Mitch said he saw someone very short in stature at Fort somewhere in Arizona. The VP chief of staff is like 5'2". So that, along with the Harpole interview, is interesting. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I mean, if Mitch saw someone short, that's interesting because he's a diminutive little fella. There's more to New York State than the city. Upstate is very rural, green, and beautiful. I spent 2020 weekends hiking the Allegheny Mountains, the far north, Thousand Islands in between. Thousand Island, like the dressing? Is that where they came up with the dressing? It's delicious. It's delicious on French fries. Don't tell people I said that. But it's true. I believe you. When I said New York earlier, I meant New York City. I watched Ana Escobar on Stu Peters the other night. She seemed sad the more they talked about potential gun running. Yeah, I would be too. Tyler should be given a job as a special ops or deep SEAL the way he's given he has the FBI, even the FBI baffled on an open and shut federal cover-up. Yeah. Why the white around roof guy and hole in CK color? I don't know what the white around the roof guy means. The hole in the Charlie Kirk collar, if it's a hole, that would be very devastating to the gunshot narrative. Thanks for all you do, my DNL Meg's. DNL? What's a DNL? Daughter-in-law? Meg's 30th birthday is today. She's still deployed for the current war. Would like prayers for her. Thank you. Love you, be, and God bless. Prayers indeed, and happy birthday to her. I hope she's enjoying it. Hi, Daisy. Baron. When Colvette was being all sketchy regarding where he was MIA before after Charlie Kirk's demise, Andrew's doublespeak reminded me a lot of when I called my ex stepping out. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. I wish I could sing. Christ is king indeed, but I for the life of me, can't sing. I just can't sing. I wish I could. Great job on Julian Dorey. So glad he had you on. Love you both. Well, both of y'all. Oh, both of y'all? You must be Southern. I'll allow it. Check out the website for the H2O you drink. They deliver to some counties in Tennessee. I hope it's mine. Might be. Member show idea. I have community vote on members for you to bring on and interview, talk about their life story, and get to know our favorite members. Love you, B. That's not a bad idea. Mortician video was fine. She was very respectful, made great members live guests. She was fine. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. I don't mind people pointing out where I've gotten something, where I've had shortcomings in my analysis. I don't care. I mean, if I was prideful and only wanted to be right and was looking for a certain result, I would care. I do not care. If she can provide additional information to this case, great. I even commented in her comments, like, thanks for the shout out. I'm all in favor of it. My B, I rewatched Candace's last episode, bothered by CK's medical records. She said she couldn't understand why the records were in a different hospital. You can only transfer records if you get authorization from a responsible party. How did that happen? I don't know. Sis and I watch you and Candace every night. Always call to follow up the next day to discuss our family. Our family thinks we're crazy. They're just not high IQ enough, and they eat up the Fetzlop. Doing our best to convert them. Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. Oh, well. Keep working on them. Baron, there was a video of a guy running across the roof taken by a student, similar angle to the one CO showed on Thursday of him prone. But I remember longer video of him running and in all black. Have you seen that? No. The only other video I've seen, there's only 3 total videos I've seen of someone on the roof. The one Candace showed and the downgraded versions of it. The one from the side angle with him just lying prone. He never ran to or fro. And the only other one I recall seeing was from the Hall of Flags looking back over the crowd, and you just saw him for a glimpse and you couldn't tell what he was wearing. So I don't know what you're talking about. Mathematically, the U.S. political system always settles into only 2 major parties. So we should never call it a third party. Instead, we should always call it a replacement party. Well, that's good to know. Baron, it's a Perot antenna ball. Oh. Yeah, it's got a hole in the bottom. Look. You're right. Stick that bad boy on an antenna. That's how you know it's dated. Because no one has antennas anymore. They have these little fins on the top of their car. Antenna ball, huh? Thank you. I can barely get my super chats to go through. I have important info, but YouTube censors half the words in the English language. Well, get creative. Provo Resident Agency FBI Office, a satellite office of the FBI Salt Lake City Field Office, 88 West 100 North, Suite 200, Provo, Utah, 12 minutes away from you. Well, if they got there in 16 minutes, that means they only wasted 4 minutes. They must have been ready to go. They didn't have to go to the bathroom, put down lunch. If a hospital is on diversion, there should be radio traffic from dispatch stating such. We'll look for that. It's a good call. On the wall of the Fulton Library around Charlie Kirk 3 o'clock, Ian Carroll recorded a camera hanging there. Did anyone see footage from it so far? Life is driving footage, time mark 53:02:17. I have not seen footage from it. Shy, welcome in. Mr. My B. In your opinion and lawyer career, how much does HIPAA hold up in a especially high-profile case? Just curious. HIPAA should be observed. There's still civil and criminal penalties that can attach to HIPAA violations. But keep in mind, it only applies to providers. What they call covered entities. It only applies to covered entities. I don't want to say providers too narrow because anyone who receives in course from a provider is also a covered entity. So an insurance company, a billing processor. But yeah, it only applies to covered entities. So anyone who's not a covered entity who comes into contact with these records is not covered by HIPAA. Now, they may be covered by some other civil or criminal penalty I'm not aware of. I'm not suggesting anyone take any action if they get a hold of medical records. But it wouldn't be a HIPAA violation. It'd be something else. The first cop you showed in the beginning that looked Chinese was the same cop directing people back as they were carrying Charlie the SUV. Good call. His name's Kim. The Pro Ball's an antenna ball. Put on your car antenna. Yes, I'm old. I mean, I'm old and I didn't know that. My friend lives close, UVU, and can be on ground. FYI. Okay. Duly noted. I agree, my B. One of the patsies wasn't supposed to still be alive. Christ is king indeed. I agree with that. The item, the officer was banging on the table as a microphone. I said that. The people are wondering who was in what frame at the crime scene. Maybe our greatest ally could help. Palantir bragged about identifying thousands of people on January 6th. Can we find out who Pink Hat person is? Someone thinks it might be Falmina. Catching up now. 2. Matt at Blackline Brief reports that Beck's wife is living with EK to watch her children in her absence. So that question is answered. Forward to you, JD and Doc. Very cool collab. Love Doc's work. Yeah, it is a cool collab, and I think you'll enjoy it quite a lot. It's a very good discussion. I didn't hear Matt say that, and I don't know that to be true, and I don't even know how I begin to verify that. So I don't know what to make of that. I switched cards between here since Ian. Don't you think you opened eyes on Julian? Or do you think you opened eyes on Julian Dorey with Joseph? I don't want to give the game away of what happened, but I think it'll be valuable going forward. I think it'll be a very valuable interview going forward in this investigation. I don't want to say one of the more valuable pieces that's been done, but I think it will lend tremendous help to the investigation. That's all I'm going to say. Now it'll be an overtime thing, and we'll talk about it after it drops. 99% of ER is going lockdown for gunshot wound. In case someone comes to finish it, just FYI. Also, if someone ran in to tell me what to do in my trauma bay, we'll just say, bless his heart. Keep doing what you were doing. Christ is king indeed. Well, bless his heart indeed. That's for those that aren't Southern. That's Southern for go to Hades. 3, please excuse my low IQ. I need timeline clarity. If autopsy shows chest neck wound, which we expected, was that prior to finding the pew? Would they know about that narrative yet? Does that significantly harm their bull? Yes, they would have known that the gun was found. Because the gun was found at like 5 p.m. and the autopsy could not have taken place before like 8 or 9 p.m. So at least the knowledge would be there. Whether it made its way to the autopsy room, I don't know. Hey, B, could you take a look at a few emails I sent when you can? Maybe. Subject is the hats, bearing the hats. Keep going, Max Christ is king indeed. If you're just telling me that the hats can be tested, we've covered that. We don't know where they are. I signed up for X to follow you and Candace and got shadow banned as well. Rarely would comment, just like all your comments. One day went and was banned, appealed and was denied. Well, that's not shadow banning. That's flat out banned. No, you obviously said something along the way. Please have someone put your videos into playlists with keywords added to the description. I make videos and you're a credible source. Takes a lot of time though. My videos all have keywords in the description and they have transcripts. And every now and then I upload a bunch of the transcripts to Grok and tell them to use them, make them visible. And I think the web might be still grabbing my transcripts. I'm not sure if they're still doing that or not. First time ever sending chat. Have you heard of devolution? You are brilliant and would love your take. No, I've never heard of devolution. Badlands Joe here. I don't know who that is. I would love to give you my take. Sorry, I've been corrected and may have misheard. It may be Mrs. Rob McCoy with the children. The widespread destruction of evidence is infuriating. Plus, FBI took their clothing and all should be charged. Well, I can only state with certainty I know for a fact they took one person's clothing. And I heard Candace say they took all or others. So I believe her because that's consistent with taking all of one person's clothing. Why would they only take one person's? Why wouldn't they take everyone's? I don't know. Where's the clothes? Where's the clothing? If I'm the defense lawyer, I want to ask that question. You guys took the security clothing? ¿Dónde están? Wasn't there a guy who said he saw an SUV pull in the hospital? Guys put someone on gurney, then another SUV. EMM drove back out of speed. Yeah, we did a show on that just a month or so ago, maybe less. We don't know what to make of it. He did say that, but we don't know if he's, I've not talked to him. By the way, it is alleged that Michael Burt, a defense attorney for TR, is a cousin of Terryl Farnsworth. Correct. We've mentioned that on a number of occasions, and I don't know if that's true. I assume. It's been talked about enough. I think they would have come out by now and said it's not. I swear I've heard that governments, militaries across the world use fax machines because it's the most secure way to get things to and from. Well, as long as you know who's on the other end of the fax machine. What do you think of the connection with Russell Twiggs' LDS for Zionism and Nauvoo Lodge and Freemasonry? I don't know what to make all that. Your wedding ring, gold, silver? It's white gold. I wore it to go to Julian's podcast because I knew I wasn't going to be working out for a couple of days. So I did wear it. But I took it off because I worked out today. And I was carrying heavy kettlebells. So I did not want to have it on. Baron Whitney. I joined Julian's Patreon to watch the show. Couldn't get sound on the video, so then I got a membership. That worked. You and Julian make a great team. Looking forward to the second half later this week. I am too. Thank you. I'll let Julian know. I'm going to tell him all the new memberships. I'm taking credit for all of them. I'm late. But I love how Terryl takes the cameras down, messes around the table, and then automatically gets on his phone. Yeah. He might have been playing Words with Friends. We don't know. Hi, Baron. Hi, Texas Teresa. Thanks for all you do. Should we see a muzzle flash in the video? I don't know. I'm not a firearms expert. I know it's bright, broad daylight at noon or just shortly after noon. It wasn't overcast or dark. It's not the best footage anyway, but I think you should see some evidence a shot was taken, and I don't. I know some people claim they do. I don't. I think you should see some movement of some sort. It looks to me like he's laying perfectly still and gets up and runs off. I just don't reconcile that with a gunshot. Sent you an email. Saw a huge bug in the video right before he gets shot. Wonder if it could be drone bugs. Sounds crazy, but you never know. See pics. I promise I've seen those pics, and I don't see drone. My emails are about Tyler's hats, not TPUSA hats. Oh, duly noted. Recent follower, great content, joining late. Do you know how qualified Tyler's legal representation is? Does he have public defenders? Or we do know he has public defenders, and they are eminently qualified. These are people who've tried death penalty cases, who are very familiar and versed and have decades of experience, combined maybe 100 years or more of experience trying criminal cases. So they're qualified. Just, hey, Baron. Hi, Baron. Watch end your interview with Julian today. Your humble host was fantastic. I love Julian and Deef. Love you, Baron. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I was walking to breakfast and saw Deef walking down the road. I was like, yeah, I know you. He was going to the gym, and I was going to eat. So he was better than I was that day. +1, Deef, but I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Did we hear if it was Charlie's phone that pinged 911? No, we have not heard. No, we've not heard. But you know what we have heard, and we hear time and time again, and every time we get to this, people are like, I forgot. Don't forget. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. We get there every time. People are like, I forget. No, don't forget. Guys, if you like the show, click like, subscribe. You can join. It's a great way to support the program. To join the members feed, you get access to all the members content, plus access to live shows that come up in the future. There should be one Tuesday, for example. Maybe Friday, but I think it'll be Tuesday. And it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun on those shows. They're totally different shows than what you see here. Totally different shows. Anyone who's a member can tell you they're a little wilder. Typically a little wilder. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Go watch the Julian Dorey show with the podcast with your humble host. Be on the lookout for part 2 of that. That's going to be coming out later this week. If you're not on Julian's Patreon, it probably will come out tomorrow or Tuesday. Not sure when he plans to release that. But I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. I may do an early show tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I really liked that early show last week. We did an early show, had a great crowd, a huge crowd. Got so much feedback that people liked the 2 p.m. kickoff. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. See if we can put a show together in time. If not, I'll see you for the after party. For the after party, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening. We'll chat soon.